Chapter 2940. Su Zimo kept the white jade pendant and suddenly thought of something else. He asked, "How long is the lifespan of a great emperor?" Dai Yu said, "The lifespan of an emperor is about 10 million years. If a great emperor belongs to the next realm, his lifespan will definitely be more than 10 million years. And almost none of the great emperors in history had a good ending. Most of them died in that catastrophe, so it's hard to estimate their lifespan." Su Zimo said, "As far as I know, the longevity great emperor of the last era had a good ending and his lifespan was only 20 million years. There are two possibilities." Dai Yu said, "First, a great emperor's lifespan is 20 million years. Second, the living beings in the middle world are restricted by the laws of heaven and earth, so their lifespan is only 20 million years. Something's still not right." Su Zimo shook his head. Although the six paths and the middle world exist side by side, it's still below the greater world. Logically speaking, the great emperors of the six paths should also have an upper lifespan. But the demon lord and the evil emperor have existed since a few eras ago. It's probably been hundreds of millions of years since then. How could they have lived for so long? Dai Yu shook her head. She couldn't figure it out either. For a few eras, most of the great emperors in the middle world had died in the catastrophe, but the demon lord and the evil emperor had lived until now. Su Zimo pondered. Or could it be that the demon lord and the evil emperor had died long ago, but could be revived in every era? But soon, Su Zimo rejected this idea. A great emperor was already the upper limit of a middle world's power. What kind of power would it take to revive a great emperor? Even the heavenly burial scripture couldn't do it. Why did Song invade the great wilderness? Su Zimo asked. "I don't know, and it's not important." Dai Yu said, "Do you remember what I told you? The upper world is like a bloody and dark forest. The survival of all races is like walking on thin ice, and other forces can barge in at any time to kill as they please. In the eyes of Tsong, all the living beings of the great wilderness are nothing more than a bunch of ants. There's no need for a reason." At first, Tsong didn't even put the creatures of the great wilderness in his eyes. He just stepped on them like it was just a casual step in the forest. He didn't even look down. Merely, it didn't expect to step on a stone. As she spoke, Dai Yu's gaze shifted to the ground not far away. In an instant, it was as if time had accelerated. On the hard ground, there were a few stalks of tender grass that were tenaciously growing. They were full of vitality and exuded the vitality of life. A butterfly fluttered in the air and landed on a few stalks of grass. Suddenly, a gust of wind blew past, sending sand and stones flying. This gust of wind came very suddenly. It swept across the butterfly's body and destroyed its thin wings, as if it wanted to blow it far away and tear it into pieces. This butterfly seemed so weak and helpless in the fierce wind. The wings on its back were almost broken. However, the butterfly remained motionless the entire time, silently fighting against the howling winds around it. Look at that stalk of grass. No matter how hard the ground is, it will eventually break out of the ground. Suddenly, Dai Yu's voice sounded. "This gust of wind can blow sand and stones, but it can't move a weak butterfly. That's life. No matter how weak a race is, it's still life. And the power of life lies in its unwillingness to submit." When he heard that, Su Zimo's heart skipped a beat. At that moment he sensed Dai Yu's Tao. It was because of her unwillingness to submit that Dai Yu was able to rise from the weakest butterfly race to where she was today. Dai Yu asked again, "Do you know why I imparted you Tao techniques in Pingyang town back then?" Su Zimo replied, "You once said that you wanted to end this karma. That's only one of the reasons." Dai Yu said, "If you had chosen to submit and compromise in the face of perfected Jin Dan's bullying, I would have imparted you Tao techniques and ended this karma as well. However, I wouldn't have taught you cultivation personally or left you any gifts. It's precisely because you didn't kneel that I sensed the unwillingness to submit from you, the power of life." Realization dawned on Su Zimo. It was no wonder why Dai Yu did not speak to him much even after staying in his residence for 2 years. However, after that incident, Dai Yu took the initiative to look for him, wanting to impart her Tao techniques and bring him on the path of cultivation. Right then, the butterfly that was initially persevering in the raging winds suddenly flapped its wings gently. Instantly, the entire world seemed to have stopped. The next moment, the flapping wings on the butterfly's back created an even more terrifying gust of wind that swept in all directions. As for the butterfly, it stood in the midst of the gust like a divine being. Gradually, 2 balls of purple flames appeared in Su Zimo's eyes. What happened earlier on was not a coincidence. Dai Yu was imparting her Tao. Of course, a single Tao technique could not raise Su Zimo's cultivation realm. However, the 2 true bodies could gain a lot of insights from it. Looking at Su Zimo, who was comprehending the Tao technique, Dai Yu nodded slightly with a look of admiration in her eyes. Right then, Dai Yu's expression changed as though she had sensed something. Looking into the distance, she suddenly vanished from the spot. Butterfly Valley. In the conference hall. By the time Dai Yu arrived, the 8 demon emperors of the eastern wilderness were all present. What's the matter? Dai Yu sat in the middle with her blood-red robes and exuded a powerful aura as she asked indifferently. Besides Su Zimo, Dai Yu would inadvertently reveal her weak side. However, in front of others, she was the powerful and invincible blood butterfly demon emperor whose name shook the entire vast wilderness. There's a commotion from the Tai mountain range. Dragon Emperor Huang Hai sat on his chair without standing up and said in a deep voice, Song should be making a move on the Tai mountain range. I'm afraid Tian Wu won't be able to defend against it alone. Tian Wu's collusion technique is dead, Dai Yu said. Hearing that, the demonic emperor's expressions changed slightly. Great Peng Demon Emperor said, if that's the case, let's give up on the Tai mountain range. We can't even take care of ourselves and can't help. It's not appropriate to give up. Divine Elephant Demon Emperor frowned and said, there are dozens of countries in the Tai mountain range with billions of lives. Once we give up, Song will invade and slaughter countless races. Then what should we do? Black Snake Demon Emperor said, if we go and help, our mountain range will be empty and Song will take advantage of it. The losses will be even greater. Dragon Emperor Huang Hai suddenly said, if Shui Dai appears, she should be able to defend against Song's attack. However, pausing, Dragon Emperor Huang Hai looked at Dai Yu and said, it hasn't been long since the last battle. Shui Dai, your injuries. Dai Yu looked at Dragon Emperor Huang Hai expressionlessly and said, what are you trying to say? Nothing. Dragon Emperor Huang Hai said, I'm thinking that if your injuries haven't healed, we won't be able to defend the Tai mountain range. If this continues, it's only a matter of time before the entire eastern wilderness is devoured by Tsang. If that's the case, why should we continue to persist? The sooner we submit, the sooner we may be able to accomplish something under Tsang's command with our battle prowess. Chapter 2941. After Dragon Emperor Huang Hai finished his words, the other 8 demonic emperors had different expressions. Among the 9 demonic emperors of Eastern Wilderness, only Dragon Emperor Huang Hai, Great Rock Demonic Emperor, and Divine Elephant Demonic Emperor had followed Dai Yu for many years. The rest came from the South, West, and North Wilderness. In order to avoid Song's conquest, they moved to the east. Back then, Blood Butterfly Demonic Empress had 12 demonic emperors under her command. However, in that battle, 9 demonic emperors died, leaving only Dragon Emperor Huang Hai, Great Rock Demonic Emperor, and Divine Elephant Demonic Emperor. In that battle, Dai Yu defeated Song and left behind a bunch of emperors' corpses. The remaining demonic emperors, Great Rock Demonic Emperor, and Divine Elephant Demonic Emperor had all broken through and absorbed a large amount of world fragments to reach their current level. Dragon Emperor Huang Hai had followed Dai Yu for the longest time, and his declaration was unexpected. This also meant that Song's strength and continuous conquest had pressured Dragon Emperor Huang Hai, which was why he was willing to submit. There were only 4 peak-stage demonic emperors in the Great Wilderness domain. The other 3 had all submitted to Tsang. Only Dai Yu guarded Eastern Wilderness. Below the pinnacle, Dragon Emperor Huang Hai was one of the strongest peerless imperial emperors. Among the 9 demonic emperors of Eastern Wilderness, Dai Yu was the strongest. Below her were Dragon Emperor Huang Hai, Great Rock Demonic Emperor, Divine Elephant Demonic Emperor, and Nine-Tailed Demonic Emperor. There were 5 ordinary demonic emperors: Kuei Ox Demonic Emperor, Bai Zhe Demonic Emperor, Sky-Bearing Emperor, Black Snake Demonic Emperor, and Tianwu Demonic Emperor. As one of the 4 demonic emperors and the one who had followed Dai Yu for the longest time, Dragon Emperor Huang Hai's declaration was extremely important. Dai Yu looked calm and said nothing. She only looked at the remaining demonic emperors. Among the 3 remaining demonic emperors, Great Rock Demonic Emperor's expression did not change, as if he was not surprised by Dragon Emperor Huang Hai's declaration. The other 2, Divine Elephant Demonic Emperor and Nine-Tailed Demonic Emperor, frowned. Among the remaining 4 ordinary demon emperors, the Kuei Ox Demon Emperor and the Black Snake Demon Emperor were tempted, while the Sky-Bearing Demon Emperor and the Bai Zhe Demon Emperor showed signs of resistance. Huang Hai, what are you saying? The Divine Elephant Demon Emperor frowned and said, Song has a blood feud with the Eastern Barren Territory. More than half of the 12 demon kings who fought alongside us died in their hands. If we don't avenge them, the heavens will not tolerate it. Should we choose to surrender? How can those fallen brothers rest in peace after surrendering to the enemy? Before Dragon Emperor Huang Hai could say anything, Great Peng Demon Monarch spoke first. Song's strength is unfathomable. Monarch Qin Yen and the others will return soon. Shui Dai's injuries have not healed yet. Who can stop them? Dapeng Demon Overlord glanced at Dai Yu. Could it be that dying on the battlefield is the best ending? If the Divine Phoenix and the Spirit Turtle were still alive, they probably wouldn't want us to seek our own deaths. Among the 4 peerless demonic emperors, 2 had already expressed their desire to submit to Tsang. I don't agree. The Nine-Tailed Demonic Emperor stood up slowly and said, I brought the Nine-Tailed tribe here from the Southern Barren Territory because I don't want them to fall into Tsang's hands and become his slaves. Other than the Nine-Tailed tribe, there are many other races in the Great Wilderness that have fled to the Eastern Barren Territory to seek protection. Now that you want to submit to Tsang, what will you do to them? The Nine-Tailed Demonic Emperor was wearing a pink fur coat, revealing her slender arms and long, snow-white legs. She had a slim figure, and a casual glance at her would make one's heart flutter. Those eyes rippled with light, as if they could steal one's soul. All the demonic emperors present sat upright. No one dared to look at her, let alone look at the Nine-Tailed Demonic Emperor. The Fox tribe was good at seduction. The king of the Fox tribe, the Nine-Tailed Sky Fox, was a natural beauty. She had a delicate body, and she was like a perfect treasure created by the gods. She emitted a seductive fragrance. Monarch Qin Yen had even said that he wanted the Nine-Tailed Demonic Emperor to serve him. If not for Dai Yu's protection, the Nine-Tailed Demonic Emperor would have been taken into Monarch Qin Yan's harem. The Nine-Tailed Demonic Emperor also had someone she liked in the Eastern Barren Territory, so the other demonic emperors didn't dare to have any improper thoughts. The Black Snake Demonic Emperor looked straight ahead and said, We're all monarchs, and our lives are precious. We can't be compared to those messy races. If that's the case, we can only go with the flow. That's the only way we won't be crushed. The Bai Zhe Demonic Emperor shook his head slightly and said, I don't agree. The 8 demonic emperors in the hall were in a long argument, and it was getting more and more intense. Dai Yu didn't say anything from the beginning to the end. The battle with Monarch Qin Yen and the others wouldn't make her feel tired. The current situation was what made her feel exhausted. Although Dragon Emperor Huang Hai, Dapeng Demonic Emperor, and the others hadn't left the Eastern Barren Territory, the Eastern Barren Territory was no longer united under Tsang's great pressure. It could even fall apart at any time. The final battle hadn't come yet, but the Eastern Barren Territory was already divided. On one side, there were generals who had followed her for many years. If not for Su Zimo's arrival, Dai Yu didn't know how long she could hold on. At this moment, Dragon Emperor Huang Hai stood up and said, Everyone, stop arguing. Tsang's army is coming, and the Taya Mountain Range has no leader. Who can stop them? How can we solve this crisis? The Divine Elephant Demonic Emperor said, As far as I know, Tsang's peak demonic emperor was injured by Shui Dai. Monarch Qin Yen and the others should still be recovering. Tsang's attack this time is probably led by a peerless monarch. If that's the case, we might be able to fight them together. The divine elephant demonic emperor had followed Dai Yu for many years. He could guess that Dai Yu was injured and probably couldn't fight. They could only rely on themselves for this battle. Dragon Emperor Huang Hai said faintly, "The Earth Hill mountain I'm at is in the Huang Sea. The terrain is crucial and I have to guard there. I can't fight." The Dapeng demonic emperor also stood up and said, "The Swagger mountain range is in the far west of the eastern barren territory. It's connected to Tsang. We can't lose it. I have to guard there." Although these two hadn't decided to pledge allegiance to Tsang, they had chosen to stand aside and watch. 2 of the 4 peerless demonic emperors had left, and the pressure on Eastern Wilderness increased. Among the remaining 4 ordinary demonic emperors, the Black Snake demonic emperor and the One-Legged Ox demonic emperor each found an excuse to avoid the battle. The divine elephant demonic emperor frowned and glared at Dragon Emperor Huang Hai and the Great Rock demonic emperor. He could see that these were just excuses made by Dragon Emperor Huang Hai and the others. How could the 4 of them resist Tsang's army? Nine-tailed beast emperor sighed in her heart. She looked at Dai Yu, who was sitting in the middle, and said softly, "Sister Shuedai, with the current situation, I'm afraid we really have to abandon the Taiya mountain range. However, I'm afraid the creatures in the Taiya mountain range will." Just as Dai Yu was about to speak, a purple-robed figure appeared outside the hall. The person stepped out of the hall and said, "I'll guard the Taiya mountain range." Wu Dao's true body had arrived. Dai Yu looked at Su Zimo. Her beautiful eyes lit up, but she quickly hid it. The demonic emperors in the hall also turned their heads and looked over. Chapter 2942. The shifter emperors scanned Wu Dao's real body from top to bottom. Wu Dao body wore a purple robe and put on the Mo Luo mask again. Since he was only at the peak of the martial domain realm, he did not have the aura of a martial monarch expert. The beast thearchs could not see anything special about him. A human? In the great wilderness domain, thousands of races coexisted and the human race was one of them. However, the human race had not reached the emperor realm and did not have much of a presence. Emperor Qing Tian in the main hall was from the giant race. The demonic thearchs then looked at Dai Yu, who was in a high position, with some confusion. Dai Yu's expression was normal, as if she was not surprised by the arrival of the purple-robed human. "Who are you?" Great Rock Demon Emperor narrowed his eyes and stared at Wu Dao's real body. "I am Araki Takashi." Wu Dao's real body looked around and cupped his hands. He nodded and said, "Greetings, shifter emperors." Although he took the initiative to greet them, Wu Dao's real body's tone was calm and he did not bow to the shifter emperors present. Dragon Emperor Huang Hai, Great Rock Demon Emperor, and the others were expressionless, but they sneered in their hearts. They had no idea where this human had popped out from. He hadn't even reached the martial monarch realm, yet he dared to spout such nonsense. How dare he claim to be on equal footing with them? In fact, Wu Dao's real body was already being polite by taking the initiative to greet the shifter emperors present. If not for the fact that the shifter emperors had followed Dai Yu for so many years and fought against strong enemies together, he would not even bother with them. Araki Takashi. Never heard of him. Kue Ox Demon Emperor pouted. Black Snake Demon Emperor looked at Wu Dao's real body and suddenly scolded. "Where did this nameless person come from? You have no right to speak here. Get lost." Divine Elephant Demon Emperor, Nine-Tailed Demon Emperor, Bai Zhe Demon Emperor and Emperor Qing Tian frowned slightly. Dai Yu was not surprised by this person's sudden appearance. This meant that this person was most likely sent by Dai Yu. If the 4 of them could tell, so could Dragon Emperor Huang Hai and the Black Snake Demon Monarch. However, the Black Snake Demon Monarch pretended that he didn't know anything and scolded Araki Takashi loudly. Obviously, he was trying to intimidate him. On the surface, the Black Snake Demon Emperor seemed to be targeting Araki Takashi, but in reality, he had the intention of testing Dai Yu. Dai Yu was injured. However, no one knew how serious his injuries were or how much fighting strength he had left. Dragon Emperor Huang Hai and Dapeng Monarch Beast had mentioned the same thing during their conversation. If they were sure that Dai Yu was severely injured and unable to fight, Dragon Emperor Huang Hai, Great Rock Demon Emperor, Black Snake Demon Emperor, and Ox Demon Emperor would probably leave the eastern wilderness. Hey! Wu Dao smiled in response to the Black Snake Demon Emperor's rebuke. There was a hint of strangeness in his laughter. Suddenly, Wu Dao's true body stomped the ground. There was a loud rumble. The entire hall was shaking. In the next instant, Wu Dao's true body was right in front of the Black Snake Demon Emperor. Before the Black Snake Demon Monarch could react, the martial Dao body reached out his hand and pressed it on the top of the Black Snake Demon Monarch's head. His 5 fingers dug into the Black Snake Demon Monarch's skull and pulled him down from his seat. The entire hall was in an uproar. It was too fast. No one would have thought that the seemingly ordinary human race would suddenly rise up in revolt. One had to know that those sitting in the hall were all demon emperors who ruled over a region and commanded 3 armies. What kind of status and identity was that? Any one of them could cause the entire vast wilderness to tremble with a stomp of their feet. With a raise of their arms, hundreds of millions of demon race soldiers would gather. Who would have thought that an outsider would dare to attack one of their demonic emperors when they were surrounded by so many of them? The moment he attacked, he struck like lightning and did not give the Black Snake Demon Emperor any chance to retaliate. The Black Snake Demon Emperor only heard Araki Takashi's laughter. Before he could finish his laughter, a violent roar sounded in his ears. The hall shook. A huge shadow loomed over him. Immediately after, he felt a sharp pain in his head. His spirit consciousness was sealed and his essence spirit was locked. He could not use any strength at all as he was pulled down from his seat by his head. Even if he had many tricks up his sleeves, he could not use them. With his essence spirit locked, he could not even form his own world. The Black Snake Demon Emperor's face was first filled with shock, followed by rage. Following that, it was fear. He suddenly sensed the aura of death. Now that Araki Takashi was holding him by his head, he could kill him on the spot with a single thought. Furthermore, he could sense the blood stench on Wu Dao's true body. He did not doubt Araki Takashi's decisiveness in killing. How dare you? What are you doing? Let him go. Dragon Emperor Huang Hai and the others finally reacted and stood up one after another, shouting. Instantly, at least 3 Emperor Realm spirit consciousnesses and auras descended and locked onto Wu Dao's true body. You guys had better sit back down. Wu Dao's true body lifted the Black Snake Demon Emperor and said indifferently, "This snake demon is dead for sure if I use a little more strength." Dragon Emperor Huang Hai and the others did not push too hard for fear of breaking the vases. Were you scolding me earlier on? Wu Dao's true body lifted the Black Snake Demon Emperor and asked in a seemingly casual manner. The Black Snake Demon Emperor no longer had the demeanor of a demon emperor. Instead of a snake demon, he looked more like an earthworm. The Black Snake Demon Emperor gulped. Although Wu Dao's true body asked casually, the Black Snake Demon Emperor could sense the killing intent behind that calm tone. He didn't doubt in the slightest that if he said anything wrong, it would be the end of his life. I was blind earlier on and said something wrong. Please forgive me, fellow Taoist Araki Takashi. The Black Snake Demon Emperor's voice trembled slightly. Now that his life was hanging by a thread, he could not care less about his pride as a demon emperor. If he wanted to keep his life, he had to show weakness. Wu Dao's true body said indifferently, "If not for the fact that you have followed the Blood Butterfly Demon Emperor for so many years, you would already be dead." Wu Dao's true body was not trying to scare the Black Snake Demon Emperor. If Wu Dao's true body had punched the Black Snake Demon Emperor, the Black Snake Demon Emperor would have been reduced to a pile of minced meat. The Black Snake Demon Emperor quickly said, "Thank you, fellow Taoist Araki Takashi. We have all followed the Blood Butterfly Demon Emperor and are on the same side." Wu Dao's true body sneered and threw the Black Snake Demon Emperor back to his seat. He had just arrived and naturally could not kill the Demon Emperors under Dai Yu's command. The Black Snake Demon Emperor had followed Dai Yu for many years. Although he had shown his intention to betray her, he had not done anything substantial yet and there was still room for negotiation. It was up to Dai Yu to decide how to deal with the Black Snake Demon Emperor. The moment the Black Snake Demon Emperor broke free, his expression changed and he glared at the martial Dao true body with a ferocious glint in his eyes, snarling word by word, "Desolate Marshal, you're courting death." He had been subdued by Wu Dao's true body in one move and did not even have time to release his world. How could he accept this? Moreover, he had just lost all his dignity. If he did not get it back, how was he going to command the 3 armies in the future? That's enough. At this moment, Dai Yu stood up and clapped her hands to stop a possible fight. She said, "Araki Takashi is here to help me. I believe you all already know him. I don't need to introduce him." End of chapter. Chapter 2943. Blood Butterfly Demon Empress. What is the meaning of this? The Black Snake Demon Emperor's expression was terrible as he gritted his teeth. This person managed to kill me when I was unprepared. You didn't step in earlier and now you're protecting him? The Black Snake Demon Emperor could not be blamed for feeling indignant. After all, he was one of the 9 great demon emperors of Eastern Wilderness. His status was only below Dai Yu's and he had followed her for many years. Now, a human had appeared out of nowhere and almost killed him, humiliating him. Not only did the Blood Butterfly Demon Empress not step in for him, she was even protecting that human. The Black Snake Demon Emperor was not the only one. The other demon emperors could also tell that Dai Yu was protecting the purple-robed human and could not help but feel puzzled. What was his relationship with the Blood Butterfly Demon Empress for her to think so highly of him? I'm protecting him? Dai Yu raised her brows slightly. Is that not the case? The Black Snake Demon Emperor said in a deep voice, "If you did not step in and we had a fair fight, he would be a dead man by now." The Divine Elephant Demon Emperor coughed gently and tried to smooth things over. Song is invading us on a large scale. Let's talk about our conflicts in the future. Right now, let's deal with the external threat and tide through this calamity together. That's right. The 9-tailed Demon Emperor looked at Wu Dao's real body and said with a smile, "This fellow Taoist Araki Takashi is here to help us after all. Let's talk about our grudges in the future." The Black Snake Demon Emperor looked at Dai Yu and scoffed. Although he did not continue to pursue the matter, he was obviously extremely resentful and even showed some disrespect towards Dai Yu. Dai Yu's expression was cold as she walked down slowly from the high ground and walked towards the Black Snake Demon Emperor. The atmosphere in the entire hall suddenly became extremely solemn. At this moment, everyone in the hall felt a strand of terrifying and shocking pressure. Wu Dao's real body finally felt how powerful Dai Yu was. Dai Yu was not targeting him. Even so, he could still feel the immense pressure. Even if he released Wu Dao's Purgatory and Origin Martial Grotto Heaven, he might not be able to withstand Dai Yu's power. The difference was too great. If the demonic emperors in the main hall were just puddles of water, then the demonic emperors in the main hall were like lakes. But now, the approaching Dai Yu was like a raging wave in the ocean. It surged over in all directions and could devour everything. The Black Snake Demon Monarch, who was at the center of the huge wave, felt it even more intensely. The Black Snake Monarch beast's face instantly turned pale. Unknowingly, he was sweating profusely. "You're not convinced?" Dai Yu came before the Black Snake Monarch and asked calmly. The Black Snake Demon Emperor didn't even dare to look at Dai Yu. Dai Yu's terrifying aura made his body tremble uncontrollably. Before he could speak, Dai Yu waved her hand and threw 2 round objects at the Black Snake Monarch beast. The Black Snake Demon Emperor was already scared out of his wits. Even the slightest movement would cause him great panic. Plop. The Black Snake Demon Emperor didn't dare to ask what those 2 things were. He directly knelt on the ground and hurriedly said, I accept. I have no complaints." "Look at them." Dai Yu's voice sounded. The Black Snake Demon Emperor swallowed his saliva and stole a glance. 2 charred heads. And they looked familiar, as if they were. The Black Snake Demon Emperor took a closer look and could not help but gasp. Demon Emperor Tian Wu of the Taiya Mountain Range. The other was Demon Emperor Zhu Shu from Tsung. Dai Yu said, "I said earlier that Tian Wu colluded with Zhu Shu and is dead. However, I didn't say who killed them." Hearing that, the expressions of the demon emperors changed. They guessed a possibility and instinctively looked towards Wu Dao's true body. Araki Takashi killed these 2. Dai Yu reached out and stroked the Black Snake Demon Emperor's head, asking, "Black Snake, How is your combat strength compared to Tian Wu and Zhu Shu? The Black Snake Demon Emperor trembled. On one hand, he was frightened by Dai Yu. On the other hand, he was frightened by Wu Dao's true body. The Black Snake Demon Emperor was only at the lesser mastery of the martial emperor realm and an ordinary emperor lord. His combat strength was similar to Tian Wu and Zhu Shu. If Araki Takashi could kill Tian Wu and Zhu Shu, he could naturally kill him as well. In other words, if Dai Yu had not stepped forward to stop him, he might have been a dead man by now. I know I was wrong. The Black Snake Demon Emperor said with a trembling voice. The other demon emperors also looked at Wu Dao's true body with a different gaze. Initially, they thought that Wu Dao's true body was able to subdue the Black Snake Demon Emperor because he had the element of surprise. But now, it seemed like Araki Takashi was indeed quite capable. Song is coming this time. Do you want to participate in the battle? Dai Yu asked. I'll definitely fight. The Black Snake Demon Emperor agreed without hesitation. Get up. Dai Yu patted the Black Snake Demon Emperor's head gently. The terrifying pressure that enveloped the Black Snake Demon Emperor dissipated as well. Wu Dao's true body nodded. This was what Dai Yu was capable of. Even without attacking, she was still able to intimidate the Black Snake Demon Emperor. What about the three of you? Dai Yu looked at Dragon Emperor Huang Hai, Great Rock Demon Emperor, and One-Legged Ox Demon Emperor. Dragon Emperor Huang Hai was silent for a while before he said slowly, the location of Di Chiu Mountain that I'm guarding is indeed very important. I can't afford to lose it. Great Rock Demon Emperor and One-Legged Ox Demon Emperor also found an excuse to avoid the battle. Dai Yu nodded calmly. She did not force them. Tian Wu is dead. Araki Takashi is the new Lord of Tai. Dai Yu looked at Divine Elephant Demon Emperor, Nine-Tailed Demon Emperor, and the others and said, we'll have to rely on all of you for this battle. Don't worry. Divine Elephant Demon Emperor said in a deep voice, we'll do our best. This battle is not only for Eastern Wilderness, but also for ourselves. Nine-Tailed Demon Emperor said softly, Sister Xue Dai, don't worry and rest. Leave this battle to us. Even so, the demon thearchs knew that even if no peak Imperial Emperor appeared in this battle, the Eastern Wilderness would still be doomed. Divine Elephant Demon Emperor and Nine-Tailed Demon Emperor were two peerless Imperial Emperors. Bai Zhe Demon Emperor, Sky-Bearing Emperor, Black Snake Demon Emperor, and Araki Takashi, who had just arrived, were only 4 ordinary Imperial Emperors. How could 6 demon emperors fight against Song's army? I hope all of you return victorious. Dragon Emperor Huang Hai looked at Divine Elephant Demon Emperor and the others, nodded, and turned to leave. Great Rock Demon Emperor and One-Legged Ox Demon Emperor also left. The 3 demon emperors tore open the void and left Butterfly Valley, arriving above Di Chiu Mountain at the same time. Xue Dai should be severely injured and hasn't recovered. Great Rock Demon Emperor said in a deep voice. One-Legged Ox Demon Emperor asked, are we really going to leave Eastern Wilderness and join Song? Dragon Emperor Huang Hai said lightly, Xue Dai hasn't recovered from her injuries. Nine-Tailed Demon Emperor and the others won't be able to stop this battle with just Divine Elephant. Eastern Wilderness is gone. It's only natural for us to join Song. If they win, we'll see. It's almost impossible. Great Rock Demon Emperor suddenly sighed and said, after all, we've followed Xue Dai for so many years. Now that she's in trouble, we're leaving her. I feel bad. Dragon Emperor Huang Hai shook his head and said, we've followed her for so many years. We've already done our best to protect Eastern Wilderness. She's unwilling to surrender and wants to fight to the death. I don't want to die with her. End of chapter. Chapter 2944. An army had gathered at the border between the Taiyam mountain range and the southern wilderness. Banners were everywhere, and it was a sea of black. Many demon kings stood on top of the mountains. They were led by a group of demon generals and millions of demon soldiers. They were filled with killing intent. The number of demon generals in the army was incalculable. The number of demon kings alone had reached more than 1,000. There were also more than 20 figures with terrifying auras standing in the air. The 4 leading them were Spirit Horn Demon Emperor, Fei Lian Demon Emperor, 9 In Demon Emperor, and Huado Demon Emperor. All 4 of them were peerless demon emperors. Among the 4, only 9 In Demon Emperor had a special token with the word Song on his waist. Spirit Horn, Fei Lian, and Huado were originally demon emperors of the Great Wilderness. They had later submitted to Tsang. Behind the 4 peerless demon emperors, there were more than a dozen ordinary demon emperors. They were all demon emperors of the Great Wilderness who had submitted to Tsang. Among the demon emperors, 9 In Demon Emperor was clearly the leader. Lord 9 In. Spirit Horn Demon Emperor bowed slightly and asked carefully, "Are there any other Emperor realm helpers on Tsang's side?" The demon race army that had gathered nearby were almost all native forces of the Great Wilderness. They were originally from the Southern Wilderness, Western Wilderness, and Northern Wilderness. In the previous battle with the Eastern Wilderness, Emperor Qing Yen, the 7 Knights Dragon Emperor, and a few native peak emperors of the Great Wilderness had fought with Dai Yu. Both sides had been injured and had temporarily stopped fighting. Emperor Qing Yen had disappeared again. No one knew where he went. Only 9 In Demon Emperor was left to guard the Great Wilderness. Fei Lian Demon Emperor also asked, "There are still 4 peerless demon emperors in the Eastern Wilderness. If they fight to the death, we may not be able to win." 9 In Demon Emperor smiled faintly and said, "The Eastern Wilderness is full of internal conflicts. The Mountain Lords have their own plans. Some of them have even submitted to me. Our army is pressing on the border. The Eastern Wilderness is about to be destroyed. When young Master Di Yen returns and sees that the Eastern Wilderness has been destroyed, he will be overjoyed. Only then will he give you some rewards." Hearing this, the other demon emperors perked up. If Emperor Qing Yen could reward them with some origin stones or treasures containing Genesis Chi, it would greatly benefit their cultivation. Demon Emperor Huado looked serious and said in a deep voice, "Rewards are secondary. I only want to follow Lord Di Yen and conquer the world." "Very good." Demon Emperor 9 In nodded slightly and sneered in his heart. The demon soldiers, demon generals, demon kings, and demon emperors of the vast wilderness were nothing more than a bunch of ants in their eyes. They were just tools that could be used and discarded at any time. When the 9 In Demon Emperor saw that the army had assembled, he raised his arm and pointed in the direction of the Tai Am mountain range. "Flatten the Eastern Wilderness." All the demonic emperors shouted. The demon race army of billions also roared loudly and charged towards the Tai Am mountain range. It was like a black torrent that stretched as far as the eye could see. There were too many of them. The entire Tai Am mountain range was shaking. 9 In Demon Emperor and the other demon emperors moved forward slowly in midair. Below them was the black torrent that could devour and destroy everything. "I am Demon King Xylan, the ruler of Xylan Nation. I choose to submit to Tsang." A demon king in a purple robe led the demon generals behind him and shouted to the demon emperors in midair. At the same time, they knelt on the ground. The high and mighty demon Emperor 9 In and the others did not even lower their heads to take a look. They just flew past Demon King Xylan and the others. At the same time, the terrifying black torrent engulfed Demon King Xylan and the Xylan kingdom behind him in front of his shocked and horrified eyes. Slaughter. Blood. Wherever the black torrent passed, there was only one outcome, no matter if one chose to submit or resist. Nothing survived and everything turned into ruins. The foot technique demon emperor of the Tai Am mountain range had fallen. The remaining demon kings all had different thoughts. Some chose to submit, while others chose to resist. They could not form a strong barrier at all. The Tai Am mountain range was rapidly being devoured by the black torrent. Loud roars and begging could not stop the black torrent. At this moment, the various races and living beings in the Tai Am mountain range once again felt the suffocating despair. Regardless of gender or race, living beings in the eastern wilderness were like grass under the black torrent. Blood flowed for thousands of miles, and corpses were everywhere. An old woman knelt on the ground and looked up at the sky. She cried loudly, "Where is the Lord of the Eastern Wilderness? Please don't give up on us." A middle-aged man clenched the halberd in his hand and stood at the front of his clansmen. He shouted, "The Kunwu clan will never retreat. We swear to protect our last home. In the Taiyam mountain range, more and more experts stood out. Compared to the oncoming black torrent, they were so weak and could not even withstand a single blow. Even so, they still did not retreat. Even if they were like moths flying into a flame, they would not regret it. They were willing to give up everything for their home and clansmen. Boom! At this moment, a purple figure fell from the sky and landed heavily in the black torrent. The horrifying impact formed a huge shockwave that instantly swept the surrounding demon soldiers and demon generals into pieces. The black torrent was interrupted by this purple figure, and there was a slight pause. But soon, more black torrents surged toward this purple figure, wanting to tear him into pieces. At this moment, with this purple figure as the center, black flames suddenly lit up around him and spread rapidly. Although the black torrent was ferocious and unstoppable, it could not extinguish the black flames. Even a few demon kings could not dodge in time and were swallowed by the black flames. Even after releasing their grotto heavens, they could not resist and were burned to ashes. This black flame condensed into a huge black lotus in the overwhelming torrent. It was extremely shocking. Hellfire had descended upon the vast wilderness. Wu Dao's original body had cultivated to the perfected martial domain realm, and the power of hellfire had also increased. Even peak-stage demon kings could not resist it. But just one hellfire was still unable to stop the black torrent in front of him. Wu Dao's original body formed hand seals and pointed toward the sky. After cultivating the martial Dao, he rarely used any Dharma spells or divine abilities. However, at this moment, as Wu Dao's original body chanted Sanskrit, lotus flowers suddenly descended from the sky. Even the ground was surging with lotus flowers. This was originally a Buddhist divine power known as falling heavenly flowers, and golden lotuses bloom from the ground. However, after Wu Dao's original body refined it and converted it into his own profundity, he deduced a new Dharma spell. There was only one type of falling heavenly flowers and surging lotus flowers. Red karmic fire lotus. It was as though a red lotus rain was falling from the sky. Every single red karmic fire lotus surged out from the ground like a volcano erupting. Lava spewed out and blocked the black torrent completely. Wu Dao's original body descended and blocked the army of billions of demons single-handedly. Chapter 2945. This red lotus fire rain was something that even a demon king could not withstand, let alone a group of demon soldiers and demon generals. Wu Dao's real body, which had fallen into the black torrent, finally attracted the attention of the demon emperors in the sky. Wu Dao's real body did not emit the aura of a martial emperor. Therefore, even though Wu Dao's real body had appeared, the demon emperors did not think much of him. However, the descent of the red lotus fire rain still caused the demon emperors to frown slightly. They stopped in their tracks and looked down at the purple figure on the battlefield. Is this karmic fire? Someone actually mastered this kind of fire? Who is this person? What is his cultivation level? Why have we not seen him before? Although they had seen many demon soldiers and demon generals, and even demon kings, die at the hands of Wu Dao's real body, the demon emperors were not worried at all. They only discussed among themselves. The spirit horn demon emperor's eyes were clear. After a while, he muttered, "This person's cultivation technique is a little strange. Although he has not reached the martial emperor realm, his battle strength should be at the level of a quasi-emperor." Quasi-emperors are not rare. The Nine-Yin demon emperor waved his hand casually and said, "Kill him." The hook snake demon emperor said first, "Leave such a small fry to me." Among the dozen or so ordinary demon emperors, the hook snake demon emperor reacted the fastest. Killing a quasi-emperor was just a casual matter. The others did not dare to compete with him. Originally, the Taya mountain range could not withstand the onslaught of the black torrent formed by the billions of demon race soldiers. However, after Wu Dao's real body arrived, the situation of the Taya mountain range immediately showed signs of turning around. At this moment, a man in a python robe descended from the sky. He had already locked onto Wu Dao's real body, who was killing everyone on the battlefield. He was too fast. The hook snake demon emperor was still high in the sky a moment ago. The next moment, the hook snake demon emperor had already transformed into his real body and arrived beside Wu Dao's real body. Wu Dao's real body did not seem to notice all this. The hook snake race was a pure-blooded ferocious beast. As for the hook snake that had cultivated to the demon the arch level, it had almost no weaknesses. Its entire body was covered in pitch-black scales that were indestructible. There were even sharp barbs growing out from the gaps between the scales. Once they pierced into the flesh, they would be firmly nailed inside. Of course, the hook snake clan's strongest means of attack was still the forked hook on its tail. It was suffused with a dark green glow and was extremely poisonous. It was indestructible and could pierce through everything. The hook snake demon monarch came to the side of Wu Dao's real body and coiled around Wu Dao's real body. Many of the living beings in the Taiya mountain range could not bear to continue watching. This was the hook snake clan's killer move. Even a demonic emperor expert would not dare to be entangled by the hook snake. There was no need to wait for the hook serpent to exert its strength. Just the barbs on the hook serpent's body were enough to pierce through and tear apart any living being. The snake's body coiled around, and it could even squeeze living beings into a pool of blood. Even the primordial spirit wouldn't have a chance to escape. Countless gazes were focused on this scene. Finally, someone noticed the anomaly. There was something wrong with the hook snake demon monarch's expression, and a hint of panic flashed through the depths of his eyes. Almost everyone thought that Wu Dao's real body was dead for sure. No one knew what the hook snake demon monarch was facing. He had indeed coiled around the purple-robed human. However, the barbs on his body could not penetrate the purple-robed human's flesh. No matter how he exerted his strength, the barbs on his scales could not pierce through. Because he exerted too much strength, a few of the barbs even snapped. Was that a human? What kind of body did that human cultivate? Even if he had not summoned his own world, there was no way a quasi-emperor expert would be able to defend against his demonic emperor physique. Could that person also be a demonic emperor expert? The hook snake demon monarch finally realized what kind of opponent he was facing. However, it was already too late by the time he reacted. "How dare you approach me? You're courting death." The purple-robed human spoke. It was neither a threat nor a conversation. It was more like he was muttering to himself. The next moment, the hook snake demon monarch suddenly felt a tremendous and terrifying power burst forth from the purple-robed human's body. It was like a volcano erupting and was unstoppable. Boom! There was a loud explosion. This was the sound of blood circulating. The sound was terrifying, and it was as though the mountains were collapsing and the earth was collapsing. Countless blood chi burst forth. The body of Wu Dao's real body seemed to swell as his limbs stretched out and blood chi spewed out. Under everyone's gaze, the hook snake demon monarch's massive body suddenly exploded into several pieces. Flesh and blood splattered everywhere, and blood stained the void, leaving behind a cloud of blood mist. Many living beings were dumbfounded and shocked as they watched this scene in disbelief. The hook snake demon monarch had actually died. Hook snake demon monarch's essence spirit did not escape from the blood mist. The blood mist rapidly evaporated and Wu Dao's real body reappeared. He quickly rose into the air and looked down at the demon army below. He said coldly, "Retreat from the Taiya mountain range. Otherwise die." This sentence was abnormally short, but who would dare to ignore it after he had just killed a demon monarch? Who wouldn't be afraid of the billions of demons? One had to know that Song and Eastern Wilderness had been at war for many years. There had been several battles between imperial emperors, causing the world to shatter and dim. Even so, there were very few cases of imperial emperors dying on both sides. Generally speaking, in the arch battle between Song and Eastern Wilderness, each side would fight against their own experts. For example, Dai Yu would do her best to block all the peak imperial emperors on Song's side. The peerless demon monarch of Tsong would fight against the peerless demon monarch of Eastern Wilderness. The remaining battles would be between ordinary demon monarchs. In a battle between demon monarchs of the same cultivation level, it was easy to determine the victor, but it was difficult to determine life and death. When imperial emperors saw that the situation was not good, they could completely withdraw and retreat. But now, Song had launched a large-scale attack. Just now, one of Song's demon monarchs had died. Moreover, the entire process had happened so quickly and suddenly. It was almost an instant kill. At that moment, Song's billions of soldiers were afraid and did not dare to step forward. They were intimidated by Wu Dao's aura alone. Meanwhile, Wu Dao's original body had also arrived in the sky and stopped 9 demon monarch and the others. What was shocking was that Wu Dao's original body had his back facing eastern wilderness. He was facing more than 20 demon monarchs, but his aura was not inferior at all. Who are you? 9 demon monarch looked at Wu Dao's original body not far away and asked. Araki Takashi. Wu Dao's original body replied. I don't know you. 9 demon monarch smirked with a contemptuous expression. It doesn't matter. Wu Dao's original body said indifferently, from today onwards, my Dao name will become a taboo for you. These words sounded extremely arrogant in the ears of the many living beings. At that moment, no one realized what this sentence meant in the future. The demon monarchs on the opposite side were stunned. Ha! Soon, the demon monarchs reacted and burst into laughter. 9 demon monarch was even more disdainful. He looked at Wu Dao's original body with ridicule and mockery. This purple-robed human was too naive. Become a taboo for us? 9 demon monarch shook his head and laughed. Ignorant human. You have no idea who your opponent is. You will never imagine how powerful Tsang is. We don't even take that Shui Dai seriously. What are you? Chapter 2946. At this moment, the void behind Wu Dao's original body cracked open, and 5 figures with terrifying auras walked out. Behind the 5 figures, there were many monster kings leading countless monster soldiers and monster generals. They charged out and came to the sky above Taiyam mountain range. Divine Elephant Monster Emperor, 9-tailed Monster Emperor, Bai Zhe Monster Emperor, Sky-bearing Emperor, and Black Snake Monster Emperor had finally shown up. The 5 emperors had taken some time to arrive because they had gone to their respective mountain ranges to gather their monster armies. The monster emperors from Eastern Wilderness are here to help. Seeing this scene, the myriad beings of the Tai mountain range immediately let out a burst of cheers, their spirits greatly roused. Although the 5 monster emperors had brought their monster armies, they were far inferior in numbers. But in terms of momentum, Eastern Wilderness was not at a disadvantage. Divine Elephant Monster Emperor, 9-tailed Monster Emperor, and the others led their armies here. Seeing this scene, they were all shocked. Before they came here, they were already prepared for a fierce battle. But when they appeared, they found that Song's hundreds of millions of troops had stopped moving, as if they were stunned by an invisible force. Song's 20-odd monster emperors were also stopped. And there was only one person on the other side, Araki Takashi with a silver mask. Seeing Divine Elephant Monster Emperor and the others, 9 Demon Emperor's expression did not change much. He was still relaxed and said with a smile, "You see, this is the last force of Eastern Wilderness. 2 peerless monster emperors. Including Araki Takashi, there were 4 ordinary monster emperors. On Song's side, there were 4 peerless monster emperors, twice as many as Eastern Wilderness. In terms of the number of ordinary monster emperors, Song had a huge advantage, 4 times more than Eastern Wilderness. Seeing that Dragon Emperor Huang Hai and Rock Monster Emperor from Eastern Wilderness did not appear, Spirit Horn Monster Emperor heaved a sigh of relief and relaxed. The difference in strength between the 2 sides was too great. Eastern Wilderness would definitely lose this battle. Everyone. 9 Demon Emperor said loudly, "Leave Divine Elephant and 9-tailed to the 4 of us. As for Araki Takashi, Bai Zhe, and the others, I'll leave them to you. We won't let you down." The monster emperors shouted softly. The 2 sides had already fought for many years. As soon as they met, they didn't waste any words and directly erupted into the most intense battle. On the Taya mountain range, the Black Torrent swept over again and collided with the army of the Eastern Wilderness. Demon soldiers, demon generals, and even demon kings were fighting. But in a battle of this scale, the true deciding factor was the battle between the great emperors. 9 Demon Monarch, Spirit Horn Demon Monarch, Fei Lian Demon Monarch, and Huodou Demon Monarch charged towards the Divine Elephant Demon Monarch and Nine-Tailed Demon Monarch. The remaining dozen ordinary demonic emperors surrounded Wu Dao's real body and Bai Zhe Demonic Emperor. Boom, boom, boom. Both sides were great emperors. They didn't test each other's strength and directly brought out their respective worlds. In an instant, numerous worlds appeared in the skies of the vast wilderness. They were earth-shattering, and the skies of the vast wilderness were completely covered. The Divine Elephant Demon Monarch's chi and blood surged and transformed into his true form. His 8 ivory tusks were as white as jade. They were sharp and exuded a mysterious halo. The Divine Elephant raised its trunk and cried into the sky. The Divine Elephant Demon Monarch's great world was incomparably heavy, as if it could suppress everything. One could see the figures of ancient mammoths inside. 10,000 mammoths roared and the stars fell. The Nine-Tailed Demonic Emperor's great world was a blurry dream. It seemed real and illusory at the same time. Everyone saw a different world when facing the Nine-Tailed Demonic Emperor. The charms they faced were also different. The Nine-Tailed Demonic Emperor's great world could evoke the desires in the depths of every living being's heart and help them grow and strengthen. The 9 Demon Monarch and the other 3 peerless great emperors also transformed into their true forms and released their great worlds. The Spirit Horn Demon Monarch was a spirit rhinoceros that had cultivated into a demon. The Fei Lian had the head of a bird, the body of a deer, and a pair of wings. Huodou's body was covered in long black hair. Fine flames burned between the hair, making him look like a ferocious dog bathed in black flames. Both of them were pure-blooded ferocious beasts and had bloodline inheritances on Tianhuang mainland. As for the 9 Demon Monarch's true form, it was indeed somewhat mystical. It actually transformed into 9 divine phoenix heads and had a terrifying aura that suppressed all living beings present. As the 6 peerless great emperors fought, the 6 great worlds collided continuously, causing heaven and earth to tremble and mountains to collapse. After all, it was 2 against 4. Soon, the Divine Elephant Demon Monarch and the Nine-Tailed Demonic Emperor were suppressed and fell into a disadvantage. On the other side, the ordinary great emperors fought. The situation in Eastern Wilderness was even more severe. An Eastern Wilderness demonic emperor was going against 4 demonic emperors. The moment the 2 sides exchanged blows, the Bai Zhe Demon Monarch, Sky-Bearing Emperor, and the Black Snake Demon Monarch could no longer hold on. The world they created shook and was on the verge of collapse. The battle between great emperors was slightly different from the battle between great emperors and Grotto Heaven kings. In a battle between great emperors, even if the Grotto Heaven was destroyed, it could repair itself. The so-called Grotto Heaven was a Grotto Heaven that was opened outside the body and connected to the heavens. It could absorb heaven-earth essence chi from the heavens to nourish the Grotto Heaven. Therefore, in a battle between great emperors, it was normal for Grotto Heavens to be damaged or even collapse. Great emperors did not have many concerns. But when a Grotto Heaven transformed into a world, the situation changed. In order to nourish a world, what was needed was not heaven-earth essence chi, but a higher level of power, Genesis chi. But in a medium-class world, it was difficult to find treasures with Genesis chi. As a result, when great emperors fought, even if they brought out a world, they would be very careful and try not to let their world be destroyed. Because once the world was destroyed, it would take a long time to repair it, and they also needed treasures with Genesis chi. Dai Yu was in such a situation now. In order to defeat Emperor Qin Yen and the others, her great perfection world had been shattered and had not healed. In the last battle, she was seriously injured and her physical condition was also very poor. If not, Dragon Emperor Huang Hai and the others might not have the intention to leave. Bai Zhe Demon Monarch, Sky-Bearing Emperor, and the Black Snake Demon Monarch's world was on the verge of collapse. Seeing this, the 3 great emperors hurriedly dispersed the world. But without the protection of a world, the 3 faced the attacks of more than a dozen great emperors, and it was even more difficult for them to resist. On the other side, there were also 4 great emperors who came to Wu Dao's original body. Wu Dao's original body had just killed Hook Snake Demon Monarch, and the 4 great emperors who came to find him did not dare to be careless. They all transformed into their original bodies. One of them was a blood leech that was thousands of feet long. It had 8 wings as thin as cicada's wings, and its whole body was blood red. The world behind it was also filled with blood mist, and it emitted a nauseating smell of blood. Any living creature that enters my world will be devoured and turned into my nourishment. The blood leech demon monarch stared at Wu Dao's original body, his eyes flashing. The more powerful the living creature's blood qi was, the more exciting and beneficial it would be to him. He could feel the powerful blood qi that was about to burst out from Wu Dao's original body. The other 3 demon thearchs also transformed into their true forms. They were all green birds, a cicada that was constantly chirping and covered in frost, and a pitch-black scorpion that was shaking its scorpion tail. The 4 great emperors held up the 4 worlds, blocked all the exits, and enveloped Wu Dao's original body. Chapter 2947. The battle between Eastern Wilderness and Song broke out again. Not long after the 2 sides started fighting, the Eastern Wilderness was completely suppressed. On the battlefield of peerless imperial emperors, Divine Elephant and 9-tailed imperial emperors were fighting 2 against 4. Their respective great worlds were already overwhelmed and on the verge of collapse. On the battlefield of ordinary imperial emperors, Eastern Wilderness by Zay, Sky-bearing, and Black Snake imperial emperor were facing even greater pressure. Every imperial emperor had to face the joint attacks of 4 imperial emperors. They were retreating and could be severely injured at any time. Once the imperial emperors of Eastern Wilderness were defeated, the other imperial emperors and imperial emperors would also be defeated. They would not be able to resist Song's army of billions. However, after Wu Dao's true body attacked, some changes happened on the battlefield. This change did not even attract the attention of 9-in and the other imperial emperors at first. But soon, they realized that the situation was no longer under their control. Boom! A loud sound came from the body of the martial Dao true body. A red halo burst out, and flames soared into the sky. With Wu Dao's true body as the center, the flames spread in all directions, instantly engulfing the Blood Leech Imperial Emperor, Bluebird Imperial Emperor, Sky Scorpion Imperial Emperor, and Han Chan Imperial Emperor. The power of a domain was different from a grotto heaven and a world. The 4 imperial emperors had never seen it before, but when the 4 of them joined forces, there was no need to dodge Wu Dao's true body's counterattack. They directly propped up a world and suppressed it. When the 4 imperial emperors fell into Wu Dao's purgatory, they realized that something was wrong. In Wu Dao's purgatory, 6 types of powerful flames transformed into 6 flaming divine dragons. They constantly circled in the domain, emitting a terrifying heat that seemed to be able to incinerate everything. The 4 imperial emperors' worlds had just fallen into Wu Dao's purgatory, and they were about to collapse. The Blood Leech Imperial Emperor's world was filled with a large amount of blood mist. It was filthy and evil, and it could devour all living things and turn them into its own nutrients. But under the burning of Wu Dao's purgatory, the blood mist inside quickly evaporated. Even the Blood Leech Imperial Emperor's true body was burned until his skin and flesh were lacerated. He let out an ear-piercing scream. Demon Emperor Cold Cicada's world was covered in ice and frost, which was the complete opposite of the power emanating from Wu Dao's purgatory. This world of ice and frost would also emit a series of strange cicada cries that could ignore the defenses of living creatures, penetrate their eardrums, and rush into their sea of consciousness. The slightest carelessness would cause irreversible damage to the essence spirit. Cicadas chirped incessantly, mournful and ear-piercing. Wu Dao's main body was expressionless. Suddenly, he opened his mouth and let out a world-shaking roar. In an instant, it was as if all the creatures in the world were roaring and shouting at the same time. Sound of myriad spirits. After Wu Dao's true body's sound domain's secret technique erupted, the entire world seemed to fall silent. Everything fell silent. The chirping of cicadas, the shouts on the battlefield, the fighting, the collision of weapons, all sound disappeared in an instant. Demon Emperor Cold Cicada's eyes were dull. Dense cracks appeared in the world behind him, and it suddenly collapsed. At the same time, Demon Emperor Cold Cicada's body was also torn apart by the sound of myriad spirits. After being burned by the flames of Wu Dao's purgatory, he turned into ashes and died. Another Demon Emperor had fallen. What was more terrifying was that Demon Emperor Cold Cicada seemed to have been killed by Araki Takashi's roar. This scene was too shocking. A Demon Emperor didn't even have a chance to escape before dying on the spot without leaving a corpse behind. Song and Eastern Wilderness had fought many battles, but such a situation had never happened before. The cicada race's physical body and bloodline were not considered strong. Although the Cold Cicada race was the king of the cicada race, they could not withstand the impact of the sound of myriad spirits. The sound of myriad spirits' influence did not stop there. Within the range of Wu Dao's purgatory, the Blood Leech Demon Emperor, the Blue Bird Demon Emperor, and the Sky Scorpion Demon Emperor were all injured by the sound of myriad spirits. Their bodies shook violently, and they spat out blood. The three Demon Emperors' physical bodies and bloodlines were extraordinary. Although they could withstand the impact of the sound of myriad spirits, large cracks appeared in the world behind them, and it was about to collapse. If they put away the world now, they would immediately be burned to ashes by Wu Dao's purgatory when they were severely injured. Helpless, the three Demon Emperors could only forcibly hold on to the broken world and flee outside. However, this was Wu Dao's true body's domain. Once one was trapped in a domain, one would not be able to escape even if they wanted to. The three Demon Emperors surged their blood essence and supported their bloodline avatars. Together with the broken world, they finally escaped to the edge of Wu Dao's purgatory. Boom, boom, boom. The three Demon Emperors wanted to charge out, but a barrier covered in mysterious runes appeared at the edge of Wu Dao's purgatory, blocking them. Their enormous bodies crashed into the barrier of Wu Dao's purgatory, making loud sounds, and then fell to the ground. The barrier did not move at all, as if it had not been hit at all. Not only that, the mysterious runes on the barrier seemed to have been stimulated and released flames that landed on their bodies. The three Demon Emperors' eyes widened, their faces pale, and despair surged in their eyes. The flames swept over, and in the blink of an eye, the three Demon Emperors were drowned in three huge balls of fire, making a series of crackling sounds. The three Demon Emperors' worlds had been shattered and scattered in Wu Dao's purgatory. With the current strength of Wu Dao's true body, it would be easy to refine the fragments of the Grotto Heaven. However, it would take some time to refine the fragments of the Grotto Heaven. Wu Dao's true body temporarily swallowed the fragments of the Grotto Heaven and placed them in his body. Then he turned and walked toward another battlefield. The four Demon Emperors who had besieged him were all dead, with no exception. Song Jiuyin, Ling Jiao, Fei Lian, and Hua Dou, the four peerless Demon Emperors, saw this scene, and their faces turned ugly. However, the four of them did not take it to heart, and only frowned. In their eyes, Wu Dao's true body was just an ordinary Demon Emperor. Although Wu Dao's purgatory was powerful, it was still weaker than their great world. As long as they killed the Divine Elephant Demon Emperor and the Nine-Tailed Demon Emperor, the situation would still be under their control. Wu Dao's true body plowed through the sky, leaving behind a gigantic ravine in the sky. He brought with him an unstoppable aura as he descended on another battlefield. Song Shi Demon Emperor, Dark Wasp Demon Emperor, Fire Rat Demon Emperor, and Wind Jackal Demon Emperor were besieging Demon Emperor Bai Zhe of the Eastern Wilderness. They had also just noticed that Wu Dao's true body had killed Demon Emperor Han Chan. However, they did not expect Wu Dao's true body to come so quickly and with such a fierce aura. Everyone, be careful. Shi Demon Emperor shouted softly and used a secret technique. His entire body was covered with a layer of dark golden keratin, which was extremely rough and indestructible. In the next moment, Wu Dao's purgatory enveloped the four Demon Emperors, and raging flames engulfed them. Kill! Shi Demon Emperor shouted and punched at Wu Dao's true body with his bare hands. He was from the Stone Tribe. The stone tribe's physical body was also ranked at the top among the thousands of tribes. There weren't many races that could contend with the stone men in close-quarters combat. The recent updates are not good. Ahem, how are you going to spend May Day? End of chapter. Chapter 2948. Wu Dao's original body didn't dodge. Instead, he punched Shi-Demon the Arch. Boom. The two fists collided, creating a loud explosion. The surrounding void shook, and a large number of dense cracks appeared. The aftermath was like a huge wave, spreading in all directions. The commotion caused by this collision was not any weaker than the collision of two worlds. Shi-Demon Thearka's body shook, and his eyes widened. The two fists collided, motionless. It was as if time had stopped. The Dark Wasp Demon the Arch and Fire Rat Demon the Arch turned around and pounced on Wu Dao's original body. Only the Wind Jackal Demon the Arch was left to deal with by Zay Demon the Arch. By Zay Demon the Arch was already injured. Even the Wind Jackal Demon the Arch couldn't turn the situation around. He kept retreating. Before the Dark Wasp Demon the Arch and Fire Rat Demon the Arch could reach Wu Dao's original body, Shi-Demon Thearka's body suddenly exploded into pieces. Blood mist filled the air. It was a shocking scene. The Shi-Demon the Arch, who was known for his physical body, was smashed into pieces by Araki Takashi in close combat. Even the world behind Shi-Demon the Arch collapsed instantly. Shi-Demon Thearka's primordial spirit wanted to escape from the blood mist. However, he was trapped in Wu Dao's purgatory. The blood mist evaporated, and the primordial spirit was exposed. It was burned to ashes in the blink of an eye. Another demon the Arch had fallen. 6 demon Thearchs had died in the hands of Wu Dao's original body since the start of the battle. Although these 6 were just ordinary demon Thearchs, it was enough to shock the world. Although Eastern Wilderness was still at a disadvantage in the battlefield of peerless demon Thearchs. However, the overall situation had changed. The rest of the ordinary demon Thearchs could see how powerful Wu Dao's original body was. If they couldn't suppress him, they would most likely be defeated one by one. Go support them. The demon Thearchs that were besieging the Black Snake Demon the Arch and Emperor Qingtian all moved and charged towards Wu Dao's original body. In addition to the Dark Wasp Demon the Arch and Fire Rat Demon the Arch, there were 10 demon Thearchs attacking Wu Dao's original body. Let's destroy his domain first. The Golden Condor Demon Monarch's eyes were sharp as he said in a deep voice, "If we fall into this domain, we will be in a passive position and it will be difficult for us to fight against him." 10 worlds came over at the same time, fiercely crashing into the martial path purgatory. Boom, boom, boom. Wu Dao's purgatory clashed with the 10 worlds, causing a series of explosions. The runes on the purgatory's barrier flickered continuously. In the process of the collision, the light of these runes gradually dimmed. Although Wu Dao's purgatory was powerful, it still had its limits. After suppressing and devouring the small worlds of the Blood Leech, Green Bird, Cold Cicada, and Sky Scorpion, his strength was also depleted. Otherwise, the Dark Wasp Demon Monarch, Fire Rat Demon Monarch, and Wind Jackal Demon Monarch would not have lasted until now. Now, 10 small worlds were pressuring over at the same time. They had already broken through the limits of Wu Dao's purgatory and were on the verge of collapse. The symbols were obliterated and the raging flames weakened. Cracks also appeared on the purgatory's barrier. Of course, the 10 Beast Emperors were also not in a good state. The pressure was even greater. Although the 10 small worlds had the upper hand and were about to suppress Wu Dao's purgatory, the terrifying power of Wu Dao's purgatory also caused great damage to their small worlds. Several small worlds were burned red by Wu Dao's purgatory and were almost transparent. Flames began to burn in the small worlds. If the stalemate continued for a long time, their small worlds would also be damaged or even collapse. What kind of Dao technique does this person cultivate? Why isn't he withdrawing his domain? The 10 Beast Emperors' expressions were ugly and anxious. Normally speaking, if they saw that their world was about to be destroyed, they would temporarily put it away in order to keep it intact. After all, to repair a world, one would need treasures with Genesis Chi or other world fragments. No matter which one, they were extremely rare. But Wu Dao's purgatory was different. Wu Dao's purgatory was a domain. Although it could resist many small worlds in terms of power, its domain had not reached the emperor stage. Even if Wu Dao's purgatory was destroyed, it would not affect Wu Dao's main body much. To repair a domain, one did not need Genesis Chi treasures or world fragments. Wu Dao's main body could devour heaven and earth Yuan Qi and refine the mysteries of the 100 scriptures. Wu Dao's purgatory would soon be restored to its original state. Therefore, the two sides were in a stalemate. More and more cracks appeared on Wu Dao's purgatory, but Wu Dao's main body still had no intention of withdrawing his hand. He was still constantly urging his primordial spirit to maintain Wu Dao's purgatory as long as possible. This time, the 10 demonic emperors were in for a hard time. Wu Dao's main body did not withdraw his domain. They had just witnessed the power of Wu Dao's purgatory and did not dare to withdraw their worlds. They could only grit their teeth and endure. Several beast emperors' small worlds were already showing signs of damage. Cracks appeared and spread continuously. These beast emperors were sweating profusely and their faces were pale. Rumble. Finally, Wu Dao's purgatory collapsed with a loud bang. The 10 monster monarchs were invigorated. They heaved a long sigh of relief and hurriedly put away their cracked or scorched worlds. They took out their monarch weapons and surrounded Wu Dao's original body. Araki Takashi was only one person after all. In their opinion, Desolate Marshal would not be able to defend against the encirclement of 10 demon emperors without the reliance of the flame domain. Even without the support of a world, a beast emperor expert could easily overturn rivers and seas and destroy heaven and earth. Looking at the 10 beast emperors besieging him, Wu Dao's main body was expressionless. His eyes were as deep as the sea. He took half a step forward, raised his hand, and punched the void in front of him. There was no secret technique. The great Dao was simple. The Dao and laws of the main body, Wu Dao's will, and Wu Dao's essence, Qi, and spirit were all integrated into this punch. Boom! The void collapsed and collapsed. It emitted a strong suction force that pulled the 10 beast emperors towards the collapsed void. It was an extremely strange scene. It was as if Wu Dao's main body had punched and the 10 beast emperors had taken the initiative to collide with his fist. The 10 beast emperors were also shocked. They were shocked to find that they could not control their bodies at all. It was as if there was a bottomless abyss beneath the fist, dragging their bodies and trying to devour them. Soon, the 10 beast emperors calmed down. After all, they had the absolute advantage in terms of numbers. With the 10 beast emperors working together, even if they could fight Araki Takashi head-on, how could they not win? Moreover, Araki Takashi was bare-handed. Furthermore, each and every one of them held at least one imperial armament in their hands. Boom! The 10 beast emperors controlled their emperor weapons and collided with Wu Dao's main body's fist. There was a deafening explosion. Then, a scene that shocked all living beings on the battlefield happened. The 10 beast emperors stood still. The 10 beast emperors trembled and spat out mouthfuls of blood. Their expressions changed drastically as they retreated. Some of them had their hairpins knocked out by Wu Dao's main body's punch. Their hair was disheveled and they were in a sorry state. Some of the monster monarchs couldn't even hold their monarch weapons. Their hands were bleeding, and their faces were filled with shock. The 10 beast emperors working together had been utterly defeated by Wu Dao's main body's punch. End of chapter. Chapter 2949. Something's not right. The 10 demonic emperors had a mental breakdown after being punched by Wu Dao's real body. They no longer dared to fight and turned to run. Wu Dao's real body turned and looked at the demonic emperors who were fighting with Bai Zhe, Black Snake, and Emperor Qington. The demonic emperors felt a chill down their spines when Wu Dao's real body looked at them. Their hair stood on end and their scalps went numb. Originally, they had the absolute upper hand. However, upon seeing the 10 demonic beast thearchs being defeated, the martial Dao main body could find them at any moment. The demonic beast thearchs didn't dare to stay any longer as they retreated and distanced themselves from the martial Dao main body. If Wu Dao's real body wanted to continue to hunt down these ordinary demonic emperors, he could still kill them. However, the divine elephant and nine-tailed demonic emperor could no longer hold on in the battlefield of the demonic emperors. Moreover, one of the 4 peerless demonic emperors was also targeting him. The 3 of you quickly finish off the divine elephant and nine-tailed demonic emperor. Leave Araki Takashi to me. 9 demonic emperor said and rushed towards Wu Dao's real body. Above the desolate sea, Dragon Emperor Huang Hai, Rock Demonic Emperor, and Ox Demonic Emperor stood in the air and looked in the direction of the Taya mountain range. Their gazes penetrated the layers of void and saw the situation on the battlefield. Ox Demonic Emperor was surprised and said, "I did not expect this Araki Takashi to be so powerful. He is almost invincible among the ordinary demonic emperors. I wonder where Shui Dai recruited this person." Rock Demonic Emperor murmured. Dragon Emperor Huang Hai pondered and said, "This person's Dao technique is very strange, but there are traces of it. It should be from Shui Dai." Ox Demonic Emperor said, "With the addition of Araki Takashi, Eastern Baron might be able to survive this battle." "No chance." Dragon Emperor Huang Hai shook his head and said, 9 has already targeted him. Although Araki Takashi is strong, he is not strong enough to fight against a peerless demon emperor. Moreover, his flame domain has been destroyed. After losing his strongest move, he had to fight against more than a dozen demon emperors. He must have consumed a lot of energy. Now, he might be at the end of his rope. At that moment, the 3 shifter thearchs sensed something. A gaze came from Butterfly Valley. Daiyu. Dragon Emperor Huang Hai and the other 2 did not dare to look him in the eye. They lowered their heads and remained silent. After a while, the gaze disappeared. Although Daiyu did not say a word, the 3 of them knew the meaning behind her gaze. Given the current situation, if the 3 of them joined the battle, the Eastern continent would definitely win. However, Daiyu did not say anything to them from the beginning to the end. Dragon Emperor Huang Hai knew that Daiyu would never ask for help. Or perhaps, Daiyu was already extremely disappointed in them. In the sky above the Taya mountain range, the 9 demon emperor's body was humongous and covered the sky. His 9 divine phoenix heads looked majestic and incomparably mystical. Each divine phoenix head could spew out terrifying flames. The 9 demon emperor descended from the sky and crouched down, charging towards Wu Dao's real body. Compared to the 9 demon emperor's humongous body, Wu Dao's real body was extremely small. This scene was like a mantis trying to stop a chariot. The 9 demon emperor propped up the great world behind him, which was filled with flames and lava, and enveloped Wu Dao's real body. Faced with the 9 demon emperor's ferocious attack, Wu Dao's real body did not retreat. Instead, he advanced. Rumble. Suddenly, the sound of waves crashing against the shore could be heard from Wu Dao's real body. Immediately after, his body became illusory and real. What replaced it was a huge furnace that was surrounded by 6 types of powerful flames that burned red. This huge furnace almost broke through the heavens and earth. Its aura was majestic as if it could refine everything in the world. Heaven and earth as the furnace, creation as the workmanship, yin and yang as the charcoal, and everything as the copper. The voice of Wu Dao's real body was calm and powerful as it came from the huge furnace. Bloodline Avatar, Heaven and Earth Furnace. Of course, just relying on the Heaven and Earth Furnace was still unable to fight against the 9 demon emperor's great world. After the Heaven and Earth Furnace was formed, a bronze square cauldron appeared in Wu Dao's real body's hands. The arch-divine weapon, Prison's Suppressing Cauldron. Screech. 4 earth-shattering roars suddenly came from the prison's suppressing cauldron. 4 light shadows peeled off the walls of the cauldron and appeared in midair. Azure Dragon, Vermilion Bird, White Tiger, and Black Tortoise. The 4 saint souls seemed to be real and lifelike. They exuded a domineering aura that could intimidate all living beings. At the same time, they stared at the 9 demon emperor. Although the 9 demon emperor was an extremely mystical demonic beast, he was still shocked when he saw the 4 saint souls appear. This was the suppression from the bloodline, and it was not under his control. But soon, the 9 Demon Emperor realized that the 4 saint beasts were just souls. They were not real existences with flesh and blood. Moreover, the 4 saint souls were only materialized with the help of weapons. The 9 Demon Emperor was relieved when he realized this. The 9 Demon Emperor held up his great world. Wu Dao's real body operated the heaven and earth furnace. With the prison-suppressing cauldron in his hand and the 4 saint souls around him, he charged toward the 9 Demon Emperor's great world. Boom, boom, boom. The two sides collided and a series of collisions erupted. Neither side retreated. Wu Dao's real body activated the heaven and earth furnace, the prison-suppressing cauldron, and the 4 saint souls to the maximum. He could even fight against the 9 Demon Emperor's great world. Bush, bush, bush. The 9 divine phoenix heads of the 9 Demon Emperor opened their bloody mouths and spat out streams of blazing lava toward Wu Dao's real body. But when the blazing lava entered the heaven and earth furnace, it increased the power of the heaven and earth furnace. The aura of Wu Dao's real body also rose. His eyes were like torches as he swung the prison-suppressing cauldron and launched a fierce attack at the 9 Demon Emperor. Boom, boom, boom. The two sides engaged in a fierce battle again. After all, the 9 Demon Emperor was a peerless demon emperor. The great world that he condensed was also indestructible. Even with the heaven and earth furnace, the prison-suppressing cauldron, and the 4 saint souls combined, it was difficult to defeat the great world. Neither of them was willing to retreat. They continued to fight in the sky. It was earth-shattering and attracted countless gazes. As time passed, the light of the 9 Demon Emperor's great world gradually dimmed. The heaven and earth furnace of Wu Dao's real body had also consumed a lot of energy and was on the verge of collapse. You can't hold on for long. The 9 Demon Emperor gritted his teeth and said, he had never been forced to this extent by a human. This was a great humiliation to him. Today, he must kill this Araki Takashi on the spot. At this moment, the eyes of Wu Dao's real body shone brightly. A huge door suddenly appeared behind him. It was pitch black inside and black flames were spewing out. Countless pale palms grabbed at the 9 Demon Emperor. The door of Avicii. The 9 Demon Emperor and Wu Dao's real body were originally in a stalemate. Because of the sudden appearance of the door of Avicii, the stalemate was instantly broken. The 9 Demon Emperor was dragged into the door of Avicii by the countless large hands that stretched out. He was burned by the Avicii demonic chi and hellfire. A shrill scream came from the door of Avicii. Chapter 2950. After all, 9 was a peerless demon the Arch. His blood chi was shocking, his physique was strong, and he came from Song. Even if he was trapped in the door of Avicii, surrounded by the Avicii demonic chi and burned by the hellfire, he could not be completely suppressed. Wu Dao's original body could clearly feel that 9 Demon the Arch was struggling in the door of Avicii, trying to break free. After all, the difference in their cultivation levels was too great. The door of Avicii's Dao technique had not reached the level where it could kill a peerless demon the Arch. 9 Demon Thearka's screams were more due to the pain brought to him by the hellfire. The hellfire contained the pain of thousands of living beings. Even if it could not severely injure 9 Demon the Arch, it could still make him suffer so much that he wished he was dead. 9 Demon the Arch was also clear that his life would not be harmed just by being trapped in the door. However, if he continued to stay, his will and Dao heart would collapse first. At that thought, a look of determination flashed across 9 Demon Thearka's eyes. He wanted to refine his own great world to get a chance to escape. Even if his great world was destroyed, as long as he returned to Tsong, he could still obtain a large amount of resources to repair his great world. Boom! A loud sound came from the door of Avicii. A huge and ferocious force burst out from the door of Avicii and hit the heaven and earth furnace. This huge force not only shattered the door of Avicii, but also the heaven and earth furnace. Wu Dao's original body reappeared. 9 Demon the Arch broke through the door of Avicii and escaped. His 9 divine phoenix heads and 18 blood-red phoenix eyes stared fiercely at Wu Dao's original body with a murderous aura. Screech. 9 Een demon Thearka's 9 divine phoenix heads roared at the sky at the same time, releasing a piercing screech that reverberated through heaven and earth. This was 9 Een demon Thearka's sound domain secret technique. Facing the impact of the sound domain secret technique, Wu Dao's original body did not move at all, as if he was not affected at all. His physical body was too strong. To be precise, his physical body was the elemental martial grotto heaven. Due to some concerns, Wu Dao's original body could not use the elemental martial grotto heaven unless it was absolutely necessary. Even so, the existence of the origin martial grotto heaven was enough to help Wu Dao's main body block and dissolve most of the damage. Amidst 9 Een Demon Emperor's screams, Wu Dao body charged towards 9 Een Demon Emperor with the prison's suppressing cauldron in his hand. In the blink of an eye, Wu Dao's main body had already arrived. Swish, swish. The demon monarch of 9 Yin's body trembled, and the many crimson wings on his body fell off. They broke through the sky and turned into long spears that were burning with raging flames. They were densely packed and blotted out the sky. This attack was too ferocious, not giving Wu Dao's original body any space to dodge. Wu Dao's true body's eyes lit up like torches as he raised the prison suppressing cauldron and smashed it towards the incoming wings. Ding ding dang dang. The crimson wings slammed into the prison suppressing cauldron, causing a series of metallic clangs and sparks to fly everywhere. A single prison suppressing cauldron was unable to defend against thousands of wings. Many crimson wings still landed on Wu Dao's true body. However, they could not penetrate his body. At most, they tore his purple robes and left shallow wounds on his body. Given the physical body of Wu Dao's true body, injuries as such could be healed in the blink of an eye with almost no effect. When he saw that, the demon monarch of 9 Een finally realized that the situation was not good. Initially, he thought that Wu Dao's true body was at the end of his rope after using all his trump cards up till this point in the battle. As such, he wanted to kill Wu Dao's true body with his physical body and bloodline. But now, he realized that he might not be able to gain any advantage in melee combat. How could this be? How could a weak human cultivate to such a level? While the demon monarch of 9 Een was distracted, Wu Dao's true body had already closed in. Punching with his left hand and raising the prison suppressing cauldron with his right, he smashed the 2 divine phoenix heads of the demon monarch of 9 Een. Blood mist filled the air. Ah! The demon monarch of 9 Een cried out in pain. Although he had lost 2 divine phoenix heads, his life was not in danger. His 9 divine phoenix heads were extremely mystical. His primordial spirit could constantly switch between the 9 divine phoenix heads. Unless all 9 of his divine phoenix heads were destroyed, he would be able to regenerate and grow 9 new heads. Even so, the demon monarch of 9 Een did not want to be entangled with Wu Dao's true body anymore. Retreat! The demon monarch of 9 Een turned around and wanted to leave the battlefield. He wanted to go to Ling Jiao, Fei Lian, and Huodou. Trying to leave? Wu Dao's true body had the upper hand. His aura surged as he controlled the 4 saint souls to block the demon monarch of 9 Yin's path and entangle with him. The wounds on the demon monarch of 9 Yin's heads had stopped bleeding. Some new granulation had even begun to grow. In a short while, the 2 heads would recover to their original state. Only by smashing all 9 divine phoenix heads of the demon monarch of 9 Een in a short period of time could he truly kill this peerless demon monarch. Under the entanglement of the 4 saint souls, the demon monarch of 9 Een was trapped for a while. Wu Dao's true body descended from the sky and smashed the remaining 7 heads with his fist and cauldron. The 2 sides engaged in a fierce battle once again. In close combat, the demon monarch of 9 Een was no match for Wu Dao's true body. In just a few breaths' time, the demon monarch of 9 Yin's divine phoenix heads were smashed again. The demon monarch of 9 Een finally panicked. He was only left with 3 heads. The 6 heads that had just been smashed had yet to be reborn. If these 3 heads were also smashed by Wu Dao's true body, his primordial spirit would have nowhere to stay and would be completely exposed. Ling Jiao, Fei Lian, Huodou, quickly come and help me. The demon monarch of 9 did not care about his face and hurriedly shouted for help. Although he was also a peerless demon monarch, he was born in Song and thought that he was far more honorable than the 3 demon monarchs. Therefore he did not ask for help earlier. At this moment he could not care less. Just as the demon monarch of 9 called for help, another head was smashed by Wu Dao's true body. Under countless gazes, the seemingly small figure of Wu Dao's true body stepped on the huge body of the demon monarch of 9. He lifted the prison's suppressing cauldron and smashed it down continuously. No matter how the demon monarch of 9 struggled, he could not shake off Wu Dao's true body. Every time the prison's suppressing cauldron smashed down, flesh and blood would splatter everywhere. It was a ghastly sight. Boom, boom, boom. Ling Jiao, Fei Lian, and He Dou, the 3 peerless demon monarchs, launched continuous attacks and temporarily repelled the divine elephant and 9 tails. They were about to turn around and support the demon monarch of 9. However, just as they turned around, they saw the last divine phoenix head of the demon monarch of 9 being smashed into pieces by Araki Takashi. In the bloody mist, the demon monarch of 9's primordial spirit fled in the direction of the 3 demon monarchs. The 3 peerless demon monarchs hurriedly went up to meet him. Wu Dao's true body did not chase after him. Instead, he took out the soul lamp from his storage bag and blew gently. A golden flame surged out and landed on the demon monarch of 9's primordial spirit. The demon monarch of 9 let out a final scream. Just as he arrived in front of the 3 peerless demon monarchs, his primordial spirit had already been burned to ashes by the soul lamp's fire. Chapter 2951. Ling Jiao, Fei Lian, and He Dou watched helplessly as 9 demon emperor's primordial spirit was burned to death by the golden flame. This golden flame was specifically targeted at primordial spirits. Even with their strength, they could not extinguish it. In the sky and on the ground, in eastern wilderness and Song, countless living beings saw this scene and gradually stopped fighting and killing. They were all shocked. A peerless demon emperor had fallen in the hands of Araki Takashi just like that. Eastern wilderness and Song had fought for many years, and countless demon soldiers and generals had died. Even Demon King experts could not avoid heavy losses. But once one reached the demon emperor realm, it was very difficult to fall. Moreover, this was a peerless demon emperor. And a peerless demon emperor from Song. Ling Jiao, Fei Lian, and He Dou looked terrible. They stared at Wu Dao's real body not far away with fear. Everyone had underestimated this person. This Araki Takashi could kill 9 demon emperor in front of everyone. This meant that this person could also kill them. On Eastern Wilderness's side, the divine elephant, 9-tailed, and the other demon emperors also looked at Wu Dao's real body in disbelief. Dai Yu had just made Wu Dao's real body the lord of Taiya mountain range, and Wu Dao's real body had shown his strength in the Butterfly Valley's palace. But no one expected Wu Dao's real body's combat strength to reach this level. Not only did he kill 6 ordinary demon emperors, but he also killed Song's 9 demon emperor on the spot. Such means Ling Jiao, Fei Lian, and He Dou's eyes flickered. They were hesitant. Because of Araki Takashi's sudden appearance, the situation had completely reversed. They no longer had any advantage. On the battlefield of the peerless demon emperors, they only had 3 left. But the other side also had the divine elephant, 9-tailed, and this mysterious Araki Takashi. In terms of the number of ordinary demon emperors, Song's side still had the advantage. But the remaining ordinary demon emperors had all been killed by Araki Takashi. They were no longer willing to fight. If they continued to fight, their losses would only be greater. Moreover, their army was made up of the south, west, and north regions of the Great Wasteland domain. There was no need to continue fighting with Eastern Wilderness. It would be better to wait for Tsong's experts to return. Emperor Qing Flames lead them to conquer Eastern Wilderness. Ling Jiao, Fei Lian, and He Dou, the 3 peerless monster monarchs, had the intention to retreat. They exchanged a glance and understood each other's intentions. Araki Takashi, the spirited horn monarch beast, suddenly spoke in a cold tone. You've killed the peerless monarch beast of Tsang, which means you've cut off your own path of retreat. How stupid are you? Do, Emperor use you. Be usint. Me's Emperor, me you is you do. As he spoke, the martial Dao body held the prison's suppressing cauldron and charged towards the three of them. You still want to fight? This guy is crazy. The three peerless demon emperors cursed in their hearts. Demon Emperor Huado snorted and said, I will let you go for now. There will be plenty of time. When Emperor Qing Flame returns, Eastern Wilderness will be destroyed. Demon Emperor Spirit Horn also shouted, You won't be arrogant for long. Although they had decided to retreat, the three peerless demon emperors did not want to back down. They cursed and turned to run. Since the three peerless demon emperors had retreated, the rest of the ordinary demon emperors also turned to leave. Retreat! The demon kings below shouted. They quickly retreated with their demon soldiers and demon generals, leaving behind a ground full of corpses. Above Chiu Mountain Range. Dragon Emperor Huang Hai, Great Rock Demon Emperor, and Kuei Ox Demon Emperor watched the scene unfold in Taiya Mountain Range with complicated expressions. Great Rock Demon Emperor said, I didn't expect this Araki Takashi that Shui Dai found to have such combat strength. He can kill a peerless demon emperor. Although Jiao Yin is a peerless demon emperor, his combat strength is not at the top. Dragon Emperor Huang Hai said, This Araki Takashi might not be able to win against the two of us, let alone kill us. Of course. Great Rock Demon Emperor nodded. The two of them had the confidence to do so. Even among the peerless demon emperors, there were strong and weak ones. The two of them were at the top of the peerless demon emperor's combat strength. Eastern Wilderness has survived this calamity. Are we still leaving? Kuei Ox Demon Emperor asked softly. Dragon Emperor Huang Hai was silent for a while and said, Let's go over there and take a look. Then, Dragon Emperor Huang Hai tore the void and the three of them entered the space tunnel. Soon, they arrived above Taiya Mountain Range. At this moment, Song's army was retreating. Should we chase? Emperor Qingtun was excited as he looked at Wu Dao and the two peerless demon emperors, Divine Elephant and Nine-Tailed. Although it was only one battle, in his heart, Wu Dao's original body was already comparable to the two peerless demon emperors. Don't chase. Dragon Emperor Huang Hai, Great Rock Demon Emperor, and Kuei Ox Demon Emperor suddenly appeared. Dragon Emperor Huang Hai shook his head and said, Although we defeated Song in this battle, it was a Pyrrhic victory. We have suffered great losses. If we continue to chase, we will only lose more experts. The Divine Elephant and Nine-Tailed Beast Emperors didn't say anything. Emperor Qingtian curled his lips. They had indeed suffered heavy losses in this battle, and their vitality had been greatly damaged. However, Dragon Emperor Huang Hai, Great Rock Demon Emperor, and Kuei Ox Demon Emperor were all at their peak. Of course, these thoughts were only in their minds. They did not say it out loud. Wu Dao's original body also did not say anything. He was indeed not in the right state to continue chasing. Although he had killed 9 Demon Emperor, it was a narrow victory. Apart from the Origin Martial Grotto Heaven, he had used almost all his trump cards. Everyone, let's return to Butterfly Valley first. Dragon Emperor Huang Hai said, We won this battle by a narrow margin. Shui Dai should have prepared wine for us to celebrate. Others did not think much of it. However, Nine-Tailed Demon Emperor frowned. Dragon Emperor Huang Hai's words were inappropriate. They had risked their lives to win this battle. However, the Dragon Emperor of Desolate Sea's words just now had referred to them as we. It seemed that they had contributed to this battle as well. Nine-Tailed Demon Emperor naturally could not say anything about it. Everyone sat down in Taiya Mountain Range and made arrangements. Then, they tore through the void and landed in Butterfly Valley. They returned to the meeting hall. As expected, Dai Yu was still sitting in the middle of the hall. It seemed like she had never left. However, there were already a few jars of strong wine on the seats on both sides. The clay seals had been removed and the fragrance filled the air. When the demon emperors entered the hall, the first person Dai Yu looked at was Su Zimo. You're quite powerful. Dai Yu's voice rang in Su Zimo's mind. In the eyes of others, Dai Yu was still high and mighty with an indifferent expression. However, Su Zimo could almost see Dai Yu saying those words to him with a smile. "Thank you, Brother Hailang, for your 250,000 book coins. Thank you, Brother Loye, for your 10,000 book coins. Continue writing. Everyone, sleep early." End of chapter. Chapter 2952. When Su Zimo heard that, he smiled gently and sent a voice transmission. "I've killed 6 ordinary demon emperors and a peerless demon emperor in this battle. I've obtained quite a number of world fragments of various sizes. Coupled with the world fragments of the 2 demon emperors, Zhu Shu and Tian Wu, they can help you heal." Dai Yu was injured. Through their previous conversation, Su Zimo knew that the fragments of the worlds contained Genesis Chi that could help Dai Yu repair her world. Dai Yu looked at Su Zimo with mesmerizing eyes. How precious were the fragments of the worlds! Not only did they contain the Tao and skills of an emperor, but they also contained Genesis Chi that could help emperor experts strengthen their own worlds and raise their cultivation. The fragments of the worlds of 8 ordinary demon emperors and a peerless demon emperor were enough to tempt any emperor expert. But Su Zimo did not hesitate to give them to her. "No need." Dai Yu transmitted her voice. "My world has already been cultivated to the great perfection stage. Even if I refine the fragments of ordinary demon emperors or peerless demon emperors, it will be difficult to completely repair it. Keep these fragments of the worlds well. They will be of great use to you when you become a quasi-emperor or break through to the emperor stage." Although Dai Yu and Su Zimo were communicating through spirit consciousness and outsiders could not hear them, the other demon emperors could vaguely sense something amiss. Of course, most of the demon emperors did not think too much about it. After all, Araki Takashi had made great contributions in this battle. No matter what reward the Blood Butterfly Demon Emperor gave him, it was only right. However, the Nine-Tailed Demon Emperor did not think so. As a nine-tailed fox, she was more meticulous and could observe more clearly. The way Dai Yu looked at Araki Takashi was indeed a little different. The way Araki Takashi looked at Dai Yu was also different. The Nine-Tailed Demon Emperor frowned, her gaze falling on Su Zimo from time to time as if she was thinking of something. "Everyone, please take a seat." Dai Yu waved her hand. The demon emperors took their seats. They were too familiar with each other and there was no need for pleasantries. Since they had won the battle, they naturally had to drink to their heart's content. After 3 rounds of drinks, Dragon Emperor Huang Hai suddenly stood up and came to the center of the hall. Fortunately, Araki Takashi made great contributions in this battle and turned the situation around. But Song will not give up just like that. He will come back again. We cannot be careless. Exactly. The other few demonic emperors nodded in agreement. Dragon Emperor turned to Su Zimo and said, "Taoist Araki Takashi, you have gained a lot in this battle. The rest of the treasures are yours. But the world fragments of the world demon emperors, I hope you can hand them all." As soon as he finished speaking, the hall instantly quieted down. The demon emperors looked at Dragon Emperor. Huang Emperor frowned. Apart from Great Rock Demon Monarch and Quaox Demon Monarch, the rest did not expect Dragon Emperor Huang Hai to say such a thing. "You," the martial Dao body said indifferently without even lifting his eyelids. "You demon you," and Divine Demon Emperor said you demon you. Dragon Emperor Huang Hai said, "My suggestion is for the Eastern Wilderness and the bigger picture. If I'm not wrong, Taoist Araki Takashi has not reached the Great Emperor realm. If that's the case, these world fragments will not be of much use to you. If that's the case, why not give them to me? I have been stuck in the Great Success Great Emperor realm for many years. If I can get these world fragments, I might be able to reach the Great Success Great Emperor realm. By then, the Eastern Wilderness will have 2 peak-level demon emperors. Only then will we be able to resolve the next crisis." If these words were said to others, perhaps they would believe it. However, none of the demonic emperors present were fools to be able to cultivate to such a level. They could see that Dragon Emperor Huang Hai wanted the world fragments in Araki Takashi's hands for himself. Putting aside the fact that those world fragments were desolate martial spoils of war to begin with, no one should touch them. Even if they gave these world fragments to Dragon Emperor Huang Hai, he would be able to reach the great success Great Emperor realm? If it was that simple, there would not be so few peak-level imperial emperors. For the Eastern Wilderness and for the bigger picture? These were just excuses that Dragon Emperor Huang Hai used to cover up his own selfish desires. Of course, most of the demon emperors remained silent even though they knew what Dragon Emperor Huang Hai was thinking. After all, Dragon Emperor Huang Hai had followed Daiyu for many years and was a peerless demon emperor. And Araki Takashi was a newcomer. To them, he was just an outsider. In the end, the divine elephant demon emperor could not stand it any longer. He said in a deep voice, "Desolate ocean, no matter what, desolate marshal fought for those world fragments. They belong to him. Now you're asking him to hand them over. What's the difference between that and robbery?" Divine Elephant Demon Emperor had followed Daiyu for many years. He was the only one who dared to talk to Dragon Emperor Huang Hai like this. "You're wrong." Great Rock Demon Emperor stood up and said, "Although these world fragments belong to Araki Takashi, they're useless in his hands. They can only be used in our hands." Dragon Emperor Huang Hai smirked and said, "In my opinion, it's still too early to tell if those world fragments belong to him." Wu Dao's original body still did not look up. He asked, "If they don't belong to me, do they belong to you?" Dragon Emperor Huang Hai said coldly, "You did kill 6 ordinary demonic emperors and 1 peerless demonic emperor. But if we didn't show up and scared Song's army away, how could you have kept those world fragments?" The demon emperors could not help but curse in their hearts. Shameless. Song's retreat was due to the death of 9 demon emperor and 6 ordinary demon emperors. It was a great shock to Ling Jiao and the other demon emperors. Before Dragon Emperor Huang Hai and the other 2 appeared, Song had already started to retreat. Before the battle, Dragon Emperor Huang Hai, Great Rock Demon Emperor, and Kuei Ox Demon Emperor found all kinds of excuses to avoid the battle. Now, they were shamelessly saying that Song's retreat was related to them. This time, even Nine-Tailed Demon Emperor could not stand it anymore. "What? The 3 of you just stood by during the battle. Now you want to take the credit?" Nine-Tailed Demon Emperor sneered. Great Rock Demon Emperor's face darkened. He said, "The 3 of us just stood by and protected the Eastern Wilderness. How can we stand by and do nothing?" Dragon Emperor Huang Hai stared at Wu Dao's original body and said slowly, "Araki Takashi, the reason I told you just now was to give you a way out. Hand over those world fragments and I will not make things difficult for you." Hearing this, Wu Dao's original body put down the wine bowl in his hand and finally looked up. He looked at Dragon Emperor Huang Hai and asked calmly, "What if I don't hand them over?" As soon as he finished speaking, the atmosphere in the main hall became tense. "Don't hand them over?" Dragon Emperor Huang Hai was stunned. He did not expect Wu Dao's original body to speak to him like this. But soon he smiled sinisterly. He even exuded a bloody aura. He said word by word, "If you don't hand them over, I will take them myself." "You can try." Wu Dao's original body said coldly. The other demon emperors were speechless. They were worried for Wu Dao's original body. No one expected Wu Dao's original body to be so strong that he dared to challenge Dragon Emperor Huang Hai. Araki Takashi had just fought a great battle and was exhausted. If he fought Dragon Emperor Huang Hai now, he would not stand a chance. Chapter 2953. Huang Hai, you've crossed the line. At this moment, Daiyu suddenly spoke. Her voice was calm and emotionless. Dragon Emperor Huang Hai turned to Daiyu and said, "Shui Dai, I just want to help you. You should know that Emperor Qin Yen could return at any time. You're injured and won't be able to stop Song's next attack. Only when I become a peak demon emperor can I help you defend the Eastern Baron." Dragon Emperor Huang Hai's words were so sincere that even Demon Monarch Bai Zhe, Emperor Qin Tian, and the others fell into deep thought. They were a little moved by his words. Desperate times call for desperate measures. Great Peng Demon Emperor said, "The Eastern Baron is in danger. What's wrong with Araki Takashi sacrificing himself for the greater good? We're just asking him to hand over some world fragments, not his life. Isn't it too selfish of him to guard those world fragments and not let go? Daiyu raised her eyebrows and asked, sacrificing others for the greater good? If that's the case, I want to heal and refine your world fragments. Are you going to hand them over? Great Peng Demon Emperor's expression changed and snorted, how can you compare them? Daiyu didn't say anything else. She just looked at the two with a faint smile. Great Peng Demon Emperor could be righteous when he talked about sacrificing others, but when it came to sacrificing himself, he became timid. In fact, this was the reason why Divine Elephant Demon Emperor and the others were willing to follow Daiyu. If they could sacrifice others for the greater good, who could guarantee that they wouldn't be the next one to be sacrificed? Shuedai. Dragon Emperor Huang Hai said, you know that the Eastern Baron can't be defended. If I can get those world fragments and reach peak Demon Emperor, the Eastern Baron can still survive with my help. Otherwise, the Eastern Baron will perish. Do you really think that Araki Takashi can stop Tsang's army and Emperor Qin Yen? Daiyu seemed to be dispirited. She waved her hand and said, just say what you want to say. Dragon Emperor Huang Hai was silent for a while before he slowly said, if Araki Takashi hands over those world fragments, I'll have a chance to reach peak Demon Emperor and stay to help you. But if he doesn't, you can leave now. Daiyu interrupted Dragon Emperor Huang Hai before he could finish his sentence. The other demonic thearchs were shocked when they heard these three words. Even though they had some disputes before, Dragon Emperor Huang Hai and Giant Peng Monarch Beast had even found excuses to avoid the battle, but they had never gone this far. And now, this layer of paper had finally been pierced through. Dragon Monarch Huang Hai lowered his head and said with a self-deprecating smile, Shuedai, I have followed you for so many years but I can't even compare to this Araki Takashi? You'd rather protect him than drive me away? Great Peng Demon Overlord also shook his head and said, Shuedai, your words are too disappointing. Daiyu looked at the other demon emperors and said, anyone else who wants to leave can leave with Huang Hai. I won't stop you. All the demonic emperors knew that Daiyu would not go back on her words. The Kuei Ox Demon Emperor also sided with Dragon Emperor Huang Hai. The Black Snake Demon Emperor also wanted to leave the Eastern Baron territory. But when he sneaked a glance at Wu Dao's true body, his heart skipped a beat. The Divine Elephant Demon Emperor, Nine-Tailed Demon Emperor, Bai Zai Demon Emperor, and Emperor Qing Tian did not move. Dragon Emperor Huang Hai's behavior might have fooled others, but not them. He was so aggressive and even wanted to snatch Araki Takashi's world fragment. It was all to find a good reason and excuse to leave the Eastern Baron territory and Daiyu. If the Eastern Baron territory had not won the battle, Dragon Emperor Huang Hai and the other two would have chosen to leave. He could not hide his intentions from the Divine Elephant Demon Emperor and the others, and naturally, he could not hide it from Daiyu. Therefore, Daiyu went with the flow. Since Dragon Emperor Huang Hai wanted to leave with a clear conscience, Daiyu would fulfill his wish. It was also a way to put an end to their many years of friendship. Sigh. The Divine Elephant Demon Emperor suddenly sighed and said, when we followed Shuedai, we were only demon kings. If it was not for her help, we would still be stuck in the Great Emperor realm. All these years, after the battle between the Eastern Baron territory and the Tsang continent, Shuedai would give us the world fragments so that we could cultivate. If not, how could we cultivate to the great success Great Emperor realm? The cultivation resources of the Great Emperor realm are so precious and rare. For so many years, Shuedai gave us almost all of them. We have indeed fought with her for so many years, but when has she ever mistreated us? The Divine Elephant Demon Emperor was one of the first 12 demon kings to follow Daiyu. Now that he knew that he would have to part with Dragon Emperor Huang Hai and Rock Demon Emperor, he had something to say. Shuedai fought with the strong cultivators of the Tsang continent and did not want to retreat. Not only for her Dao, but also to protect our homeland. The Divine Elephant Demon Emperor said loudly, she also did it for her 9 brothers, Wild Ox, Rock Bear, Giant Python, Blood Ape, Divine Chariot, Hell Tiger, Wind Leopard, Spirit Turtle, and Godly Phoenix. She knew that 9 of the 12 demon kings that followed her had died in the hands of Tsong. She wanted to avenge them. You were also one of the 12 demon kings, but you left her when she was in the most difficult time. What is there to be disappointed about? Do you really think that Xue Dai did not know what you were thinking? She just did not want to expose you because of her old relationship with you. She is the one who is disappointed. Dragon Emperor Huang Hai and Rock Demon Emperor lowered their heads. Perhaps because they felt guilty, they did not dare to look at Dai Yu or the Divine Elephant Demon Emperor. Say no more. Dai Yu waved her hand and said indifferently, everyone has their own ambitions. That Emperor Qin Yen is of the Azure Dragon bloodline. He is of the same race as you. I can understand why you are willing to submit to him. Azure Dragon race. Su Zimo heard this and his heart skipped a beat. This was the first time he had heard of Emperor Qin Yan's background. No wonder he was so powerful. The Azure Dragon bloodline was the strongest among the dragons. It was said that there might not be a single Azure Dragon bloodline born in every era in the dragon world. Dragon Emperor Huang Hai sighed and finally looked up at Dai Yu. Xue Dai, the general trend is coming. Anyone who stands in our way will be crushed. Can Tsong represent the general trend? Wu Dao asked indifferently. If he can't, do you think you can? Dragon Emperor Huang Hai still had some respect for Dai Yu, but he did not treat Wu Dao well. He glared at Dai Yu and retorted. As long as I am here, I am the general trend. Wu Dao stood up slowly. This action was normal. However, as he said this, Wu Dao's body emitted an aura that surpassed the heavens and earth. Even Dragon Emperor Huang Hai frowned and took half a step back instinctively. Dragon Emperor Huang Hai quickly realized that he had shown his cowardice by taking half a step back. His face darkened. Araki Takashi. Dragon Emperor Huang Hai said coldly, when we fight again in the future, I might go easy on others because of our old friendship. However, you better be careful. I have no friendship with you. Chapter 2954. Since Dai Yu was there and had asked Dragon Emperor Huang Hai to leave, Wu Dao would not attack him. Moreover, he had just gone through a great battle and had used up a lot of his energy. He had no confidence in defeating Dragon Emperor Huang Hai without using the Yuanwo Grotto Heaven. However, things would be different if he made a breakthrough in his cultivation level. Once he became a boundary emperor, Dragon Emperor Huang Hai might not be able to withstand Wu Dao's purgatory. Divine Elephant Beast Emperor held up a bowl of wine and said to Dragon Emperor Huang Hai and Great Rock Beast Emperor, drink this and we will no longer be friends. Don't hold back in the battle in the future. Alright. Dragon Emperor Huang Hai did not hesitate. He drank the wine and looked at Dai Yu, Divine Elephant Beast Emperor, and the others. I hope you will not regret your decision when the Eastern Wilderness is destroyed. With that, Dragon Emperor Huang Hai, Great Rock Beast Emperor, and Ox Beast Emperor turned and left. Just as the three were about to leave the hall, Dai Yu suddenly said, Qin Yen has a special background and a powerful bloodline. He sees all living things as ants. You may be dragons, but you are no different in his eyes. Tsong might not be a good home for you. Be careful in the future. After all, they had known each other for many years. This was Dai Yu's last warning to Dragon Emperor Huang Hai and the others. Dragon Emperor Huang Hai paused for a moment before moving again. He disappeared from the sky above Butterfly Valley without looking back. When the other demonic emperors saw this, they had mixed feelings and lamented in their hearts. With the departure of Dragon Emperor Huang Hai and the others, the Eastern Wilderness strength was greatly reduced. Dai Yu was injured and the beast emperors beside her were only Divine Elephant, Nine-Tailed, Bai Zei, Qingtun, Shen Snake, and Araki Takashi. When Emperor Qin Yen returned, how could the Eastern Wilderness resist him? Although the monarchs did not say anything, their hearts were shrouded in a layer of haze. They had just gone through a great battle and the beast emperors did not plan to stay here for long. They all left and prepared to return to their mountains. In the blink of an eye, only Dai Yu and Su Zimo were left in the hall. You're the one who brought the three people outside the Butterfly Valley, right? Dai Yu looked at Su Zimo and asked. Then, she exclaimed softly, that sanguine ape seems to be the one from Tsong Lang Mountain Range? Exactly. Su Zimo smiled and nodded. I didn't expect it to ascend as well. Dai Yu muttered softly. Su Zimo said, back then, you imparted the Tendon's transformation chapter of the mystic classic of the 12 demon kings of the great wilderness to him. It was probably also because of the bloodline in his body. Dai Yu nodded. Back then, she had 12 demon monarchs following her. One of them was the Blood Ape Demon Monarch. However, the Blood Ape Demon King had died in the battle against Song. When Dai Yu landed in Tianhuang mainland and saw a sanguine ape in Songlang mountain range, she could not help but think of the sanguine ape demon king who had died in battle. That was why she decided to impart Dao techniques to him. Su Zimo asked, actually, there was the mystic classic of the 12 demon kings of the great wilderness. Did you just create it at the last minute? Dai Yu said, the 12 cultivation techniques originated from the 12 demon kings. I've made some changes to make it suitable for you to cultivate. Although I created this mystic classic at the last minute, it incorporates the core Dao techniques of the 12 demon kings. Even in the upper world, it's considered an extremely top-notch cultivation technique. Indeed. Su Zimo nodded. The mystic classic of the 12 demon kings of the great wilderness played a crucial role in his cultivation to this stage. After pausing for a moment, Su Zimo continued, this cultivation technique is indeed powerful. However, the name of this cultivation technique is rather ordinary. Dai Yu's gaze was unfriendly as it revealed a hint of danger. Su Zimo roared in laughter. Dai Yu flicked her fingernails gently, making clanking sounds as she said faintly, you're really getting more and more impudent. Su Zimo sensed that Dai Yu's tone was not right and hurriedly changed the topic. Alright, there's one more thing. As he spoke, Su Zimo took out a storage bag and took out a few gray stones from it. He asked, this is the storage bag of the 9 Demon Emperor. What are these stones? Origin stones. Dai Yu's eyes lit up as she said softly, the Genesis Chi in the origin stones is extremely pure. However, origin stones can't be found in the middle world. The 9 Demon Emperor probably has them because he came from Song. Su Zimo seemed to have thought of something and muttered thoughtfully, so these stones are origin stones. After a while, Su Zimo asked, can origin stones help with your injuries? Of course. Dai Yu nodded. Only by absorbing and refining a large amount of Genesis Chi can one repair the world. In this aspect, origin stones are far more useful than world fragments. How many origin stones are there in the 9 Demon Emperor's storage bag? Only these few, said Su Zimo. Dai Yu was a little disappointed and shook her head. There are too few origin stones. It's far from enough to repair my perfect world. Upon hearing this, Su Zimo took out another storage bag and poured out a large pile of origin stones, scattering them on the ground. He asked, is this enough? Dai Yu was dumbstruck by this scene and stood rooted to the spot. Origin stones were extremely rare in the middle world. Even if there was only one piece, it would cause numerous emperors to fight over it. The origin stones that Su Zimo had poured out were likely over 1,000. Dai Yu was stunned for a long time before she recovered and asked, where did you get so many origin stones? Didn't I say before that I killed a young man from the heavenly court in the 9 underworld's sin grounds and even attracted the pursuit of a peak emperor? Su Zimo said, there were origin stones in that young man's storage bag. However, I didn't know the origin of these stones back then. Are these origin stones enough to repair your injuries? Su Zimo asked again. I think so, Dai Yu nodded. Initially, she did not know how to deal with Song's next attack. However, with these origin stones, she would be confident of fighting against Emperor Green Flame and the others once she recovered from her injuries. Although Su Zimo had countless things to say to Dai Yu, time was of the essence and Emperor Green Flame could return at any moment. At that thought, Su Zimo said, you should cultivate in seclusion. I have a few sworn brothers in Tianhuang mainland. Apart from the 3 in Butterfly Valley, there's also a little fox who should be a disciple of the 9-tailed demon emperor. Let's head to the 9-tailed demon emperor's place to take a look at the little fox. We're planning to enter seclusion as well. After this battle, apart from obtaining many world fragments, he also killed many demon kings and devoured many grotto heavens. Once he refined all those grotto heavens, the origin martial grotto heaven would have a chance to transform and produce a trace of world power. At the same time, he had already confirmed Wu Dao's next dermic formulation. With Dai Yu's impartation, Wu Dao's purgatory would have a chance to transform and advance to a quasi-emperor as well. The two of them had a tacit understanding and left without saying anything else. Chapter 2955. Outside Butterfly Valley. The tiger, Qing Qing, and the golden lion were still waiting here. After all, this was an important place in eastern wilderness, and the three of them did not dare to wander around. Occasionally, they would hear news from outside that the eastern wilderness had defeated Song's army again. There were even several demon thearchs who had died, killed by Araki Takashi. When the three of them heard this, they naturally felt proud. Qing Qing and the golden lion were still fine. When the tiger saw the butterfly clan passing by, he could not help but go up and chat with them. Then, intentionally or unintentionally, he revealed that Araki Takashi was their sworn brother. I heard that Eastern Wilderness had a great victory this time. It's really worth celebrating. Our boss should have also contributed a little. Who's your boss? Don't you know? His Taoist name is Araki Takashi. He just came to Eastern Wilderness not long ago. Similar conversations happened frequently. However, those butterfly fairies only covered their mouths and snickered. They did not believe it at all. Who was Araki Takashi? The current lord of the Taiya mountain range had personally killed a peerless demon the Arch and 6 ordinary demon thearchs. How could such a person become sworn brothers with this simple-minded person in front of them? Every time this happened, Qing Qing and the golden lion could not help but roll their eyes and turn around, trying to stay as far away from the tiger as possible. When Wu Dao's original body arrived, he saw this scene. The tiger was stopping a few butterfly fairies and talking with assurance. He told them about their experiences of roaming Tianhuang. He spoke until his saliva was flying everywhere, and his face was flushed. The butterfly fairies opposite him looked at him with disdain. The tiger bragged even more happily and did not realize that Wu Dao's original body had already arrived behind him. Those butterfly fairies recognized Wu Dao's original body. Their eyes lit up and they all showed respect. But Wu Dao's original body raised his hand and slapped the back of the tiger's head. Who hit Master Tiger? Tiger was annoyed that he was interrupted. He turned around and glared at him. Just as he was about to curse, his face suddenly changed. He smiled and said, "Boss, it's you." Then, the tiger quickly turned around and looked at the butterfly fairies. He patted his chest and said, "Look, I didn't lie to you, right? This is really my boss. Let's go and see Little Fox." Wu Dao called out to Qing Qing and the golden lion. Together with the tiger, they entered the space tunnel and disappeared from Butterfly Valley. Qingqiu Mountains. Wu Dao's true self brought the tiger and the others to the place and immediately located the 9-tailed monarch beast's location with his divine sense. Meanwhile, the 9 martial monarchs who were meditating in seclusion were aware of something. They slowly opened their seductive eyes. "I haven't even looked for you yet, and you've taken the initiative to come to me." The 9-tailed monarch beast let out a hollow laugh. "Fellow Taoist Araki Takashi, what brings you here?" The 9-tailed monarch beast walked out and smiled at Wu Dao's true self, asking gently, "Good lad." The tiger glanced at the 9-tailed demon monarch. Instantly, he could not control himself and turned his head away. The golden lion lowered its head as well. Even Qing Qing could not help but take a few more glances at the 9-tailed monarch beast, who was also a woman. Every single action, frown and smile of the 9-tailed monarch beast exuded an irresistible temptation that could evoke the most primitive desires in the depths of one's heart. The Tao heart of Wu Dao's true self was firm and unshakable. The 9-tailed monarch beast's charm could not affect him. He merely frowned slightly and did not think too much about it, assuming that it was due to the bloodline of the 9-tailed monarch beast's race. Wu Dao's true self said, "There's an old friend of ours from Tianhuang mainland in the fox race. I heard that she was taken in as a disciple by you, Nine-Tailed. I'd like to meet her today. Little Tanuki? The nine-tailed monarch beast blinked and smiled. That's easy. Little Tanuki is in seclusion right now. Come with me and wait over there for a moment. As she said that, the nine-tailed monarch beast led the way and led Wu Dao's true self and the other three to a fur tent not far away. Wu Dao's true self followed behind the nine-tailed monarch beast and stepped into the tent. What greeted him was a delicate fragrance. Suddenly, Wu Dao's true self felt dazed. The robes of the nine-tailed monarch beast before him seemed to have slipped off by accident, revealing half of her snow-white shoulders. For some reason, Wu Dao's true self felt his heart skip a beat and he could not control his emotions. The tiger, Ching Ching, and the golden lion had already disappeared. It seemed like he and the nine-tailed monarch beast were the only ones left in the tent. Not good. The martial Dao body felt a sense of foreboding. He quickly gathered his thoughts and stabilized his Dao heart. Right then, the nine-tailed monarch beast turned around. Her robes seemed to have turned as thin as a cicada's wings and were almost transparent. Her breasts were faintly discernible and her beautiful legs were long and slender. 9 furry tails swayed gently behind her and she exuded an extremely seductive aura from head to toe. Fellow Taoist Araki Takashi, the nine-tailed monarch beast moaned and her cheeks flushed. Her red lips parted slightly and she breathed out like an orchid. She moved gracefully and pounced into the embrace of Wu Dao's true self. Indeed, that sort of seduction could not shake the Dao heart of Wu Dao's true self. However, the nine-tailed monarch beast's seduction technique did not only target the Dao heart, it targeted the essence spirit as well. As for Wu Dao's true self, he had just gone through a huge battle and had yet to rest. As such, his essence spirit was greatly depleted and there was no way he could defend against the peerless monarch beast's methods. Even the mask of Emo Luo was helpless against such a seduction technique. Wu Dao's true self had not expected the nine-tailed monarch beast to attack him either. His Dao heart was stable and although his consciousness was a little chaotic, he could still maintain a trace of clarity. Of course, he did not think that the nine-tailed monarch beast was truly interested in him. While his thoughts were running wild, the nine-tailed monarch beast had already arrived before him. A fragrance wafted over as the nine-tailed monarch beast's lithe figure swayed slightly. Wu Dao's true self closed his eyes hurriedly and clenched his fists as his consciousness turned even more chaotic. A hint of mockery flashed through the depths of the nine-tailed monarch beast's eyes when she saw that. Just as she reached out and was about to grab Wu Dao's true self, the latter's eyes suddenly sprang open. 2 balls of purple flames burned in his eyes and his gaze was bright like torches. All of a sudden, Wu Dao's true self reached out and gripped the nine-tailed monarch beast's slender, snow-white neck at lightning speed. A hint of panic flashed through the nine-tailed monarch beast's face. However, she soon calmed down and said in a pitiful tone with a seductive look, "Brother, what are you doing? You're hurting me." Wu Dao's true self had an icy expression. He exerted some force and grabbed the nine-tailed monarch beast's throat, lifting her up as if he did not know how to be gentle with a woman. "What are you trying to do?" Wu Dao's true self asked coldly. "You." The nine-tailed monarch beast was about to speak when Wu Dao's true self interrupted her. "That trick is useless against me. Stop embarrassing yourself." As a matter of fact, Wu Dao's true self had almost fallen into the nine-tailed monarch beast's trap. However, just as he was about to fall into the trap, the white jade pendant that the demonic emperor gave him in his storage bag vibrated all of a sudden, waking Wu Dao's true self up instantly. Chapter 2956. The nine-tailed beast emperor no longer pretended. She was shocked and furious. In reality, she had dragged the martial Dao body into her bewitching world and used the power and Dao techniques of the world to influence the mind of the martial Dao body. In her opinion, Araki Takashi had just gone through a huge battle and had consumed a lot of his energy. He would not be able to resist her enchanted world. Moreover, Araki Takashi did seem to be struggling at the beginning. However, for some reason, Araki Takashi suddenly regained consciousness and broke free from her influence. The two of them were very close to each other. The nine-tailed beast emperor had lost the initiative and was restrained by Wu Dao. She did not dare to act rashly. How did you break free from my enchanted world? The nine-tailed beast emperor was unwilling to admit defeat. Her expression was cold and she no longer looked seductive. Answer my question. Wu Dao exerted more force and the nine-tailed beast emperor's face turned red. She looked like she was in pain. If the nine-tailed beast emperor was not Little Fox's master, Wu Dao would have killed her. Furthermore, he was a bit confused. He did not know why the nine-tailed heavenly fox would have such great enmity towards him. Sister Shui Dai is mine. No one can take her away from me. The nine-tailed beast emperor gritted her teeth and said, "Not even you." Upon hearing this, Wu Dao was stunned. What does this mean? The nine-tailed beast emperor was attacking him because of Daiyu? Moreover, it was for this reason? Su Zimo had imagined a similar situation. Daiyu was so beautiful that she might have some powerful suitors in the vast wilderness. If he wanted to be with Daiyu, he would have to deal with these troubles. However, he did not expect that his opponent would be the nine-tailed beast emperor. For a moment, the martial Dao body felt that it was a little absurd and inexplicable. If it was for some other reason, even if he did not kill the nine-tailed beast emperor, he would teach the nine-tailed beast emperor a lesson. However, he did not know how to deal with the nine-tailed beast emperor's reason. This is going to be troublesome. Wu Dao felt a headache coming on. This situation was much more troublesome than he had imagined. It would be better to have a few strong enemies appear and have a great battle. Now that he was facing the nine-tailed demon emperor, he did not know whether to fight or not. In the blink of an eye, Wu Dao's true body's palm gradually relaxed. Now that the nine-tailed monarch beast had a chance to catch her breath, her eyes flickered coldly. She swayed her 9 fox tails and wrapped them around the arms of Wu Dao's actual body. The tails continued to spread and were trying to bind the limbs and body of Wu Dao's actual body. At this moment, a figure suddenly appeared in the tent. He wore a blood-red robe, and his black hair was like a waterfall. Daiyu. Seeing Daiyu, nine-tailed demon fox became very pitiful. She withdrew her tail from Wu Dao's body and threw herself into Daiyu's bosom. She said with grievance, "Sister Daiyu, this person you found is very bad. He had just made a great contribution, and yet he was so arrogant that he came to the Green Hill Mountains to bully me and take my body. Big sister, look, my neck is purple because of him." The nine-tailed monarch beast's slender neck was indeed bruised by the palm of Wu Dao's actual body. Wu Dao's actual body listened to the nine-tailed demon fox's nonsense, but he did not explain himself. Daiyu shook her head helplessly. She reached out her finger and flicked the nine-tailed monarch beast's head, saying softly, "Stop fooling around." The little trick did not escape Daiyu's eyes. As she was about to go into seclusion, she suddenly recalled that Su Zimo had mentioned that he was going to the Green Hill Mountains. She then realized that there might be some misunderstanding between the two, thus she immediately made her way over. "Sister, you don't believe me?" the nine-tailed monarch beast asked. "No." Daiyu replied with a simple word. "Humph." The nine-tailed monarch beast harumphed and glared at Wu Dao's actual body. "Don't trouble him in the future," Daiyu said to the nine-tailed monarch beast before looking at Su Zimo. She gestured with her eyes and the two of them left the tent side by side. When the two of them were far away, they turned around at the same time and looked at each other without saying a word. After a long time, the two of them laughed at the same time. "What's going on?" Su Zimo asked with a smile. Daiyu replied, "I saved her when she was young. Therefore, she has a special relationship with me and is more reliant on me." Su Zimo could not help but think of Little Fox and nodded. "I understand." Daiyu sized up Su Zimo again. "You were able to resist the charm of the nine-tailed monarch beast even before the battle ended?" "I was lucky." Su Zimo felt a lingering fear. If not for the white jade pendant, he would not have been able to explain himself when he was trapped in the bewitching world of the nine-tailed monarch beast and was caught by Daiyu. "Is it nice?" Daiyu suddenly asked. That question came out of nowhere. Su Zimo was about to nod instinctively when he realized that something was wrong. He calmed himself down and pretended to be confused. What? Dai Yu narrowed her eyes and stared at Su Zimo for a while before chuckling and waving her hand. I'll let you off. Su Zimo heaved a sigh of relief. That moment was even more exciting than facing the nine-tailed monarch beast. In the tent, the nine-tailed monarch beast looked at the two of them leaving side by side and clenched her fists. She felt extremely wronged and her eyes were covered with a layer of mist. This time she was not pretending. She really felt wronged. Before that Araki Takashi appeared, had Daiyu ever scolded her or said anything harsh to her? But earlier on, Daiyu even flicked her finger for that Araki Takashi. That was really painful. She suddenly realized that the person in her heart might really be taken away by someone else. Araki Takashi, the nine-tailed monarch beast repeated twice, and the more she thought about it, the angrier and more wronged she felt. In order to bewitch that Araki Takashi, she even used her bewitching world and took off her clothes so that he could see most of her body. But in the end, it did not work. At the thought of it, didn't that mean that she was taken advantage of by that Araki Takashi for nothing? At the thought of that, the nine-tailed monarch beast's face flushed red and she was anxious, angry and embarrassed. Footsteps could be heard from outside the tent. The nine-tailed monarch beast hurriedly composed herself and took out her original clothes from her storage bag, putting them on again. After settling this matter, Daiyu returned to Butterfly Valley to continue her seclusion. After parting ways with Daiyu, Su Zimo returned to the tent and was prepared to ask about Little Fox's whereabouts with Tiger and the other two. After entering the tent, Su Zimo could not help but be stunned when he saw the nine-tailed monarch beast who was dressed neatly and covered herself up. He did not have any other thoughts. However, the nine-tailed monarch beast in front of him was too different from before and he could not react for a moment. However, Su Zimo's gaze gave off a different feeling to the nine-tailed monarch beast. The nine-tailed monarch beast felt that she was still in her half-naked state under Su Zimo's gaze. Chapter 2957. In order to avoid awkwardness, Wu Dao's true body turned to look at Tiger, Qing Qing and the golden lion who were not far away and asked, "Are they all right?" Tiger and the other two had lost consciousness the moment they stepped into the tent. Naturally, Wu Dao's true body could tell that the three of them were merely unconscious and unharmed. His question was merely to change the topic. "They're fine." The nine-tailed demon fox's expression relaxed slightly as she looked in the direction of the three of them and exhaled gently. The three of them woke up slowly with dazed expressions. Right then, the sound of clothes fluttering could be heard from outside the tent. Someone had arrived at an extremely fast speed, as though they were in a hurry. When they arrived at the tent, the person had no intention of stopping and barged in directly. Wu Dao's true body turned around. A 13 or 14-year-old girl walked in. She was slender and elegant, and her beauty was flawless. Although she had grown up a lot, one could still tell that she was a little fox. When the little fox saw so many people in the tent, she was slightly stunned as well. However, she could not help but smile when she saw that Tiger and the other two were among them. Then, the little fox's gaze landed on Wu Dao's body. Wu Dao's true body was wearing purple robes that were vastly different from his usual green robes. Coupled with the Mara mask, it was normal that the little fox could not recognize him. However, for some reason, the little fox looked at Wu Dao's true body without blinking. She had a feeling that she could not help but want to get close to this person, giving her a sense of security that felt familiar. She had only felt this feeling from a single person before. Just like that, the little fox looked into the eyes of Wu Dao's true body, as though she was trying her best to decipher something as her eyes gradually turned misty. "Sir?" the little fox called out softly. Wu Dao's true body took off his mask and opened his arms, saying gently, "It's me." The little fox burst into tears and dove into the embrace of Wu Dao's true body. Her slightly skinny arms hugged Wu Dao's true body tightly, as though she was afraid that he would disappear the next moment. There was no need for too many words between the two of them. A single hug was more than 1,000 words. When the nine-tailed demon emperor saw that, she was touched as well. She had personally experienced the little fox's reliance and closeness towards Wu Dao's true body. Old Tiger, Qing, and the golden lion stood not far away with smiles on their faces. They did not disturb them. They knew that the little fox's feelings for Su Zimo was ultimately different from theirs. They were brothers who could share trials and tribulations together. However, in the heart of the little fox to them. Initially, the nine-tailed demon emperor still had some resentment towards the martial Dao body. However, at the sight of this, her resentment dissipated instantly. Even if it was for the little fox's true body to the nine-tailed demon's true to herself. The nine-tailed demon emperor did not disturb the two of them. Instead, she quietly walked out of the tent, leaving it to them. When she reached the entrance of the tent, perhaps out of curiosity, the nine-tailed demon emperor turned around and stole a glance at Wu Dao's true body. So, he looks all right, the nine-tailed demon emperor thought to herself. When she saw Wu Dao's true body wearing a silver mask all day long, she thought that he would look extremely ugly with a green face and fangs. She did not expect him to look like a scholar with delicate features. As though he had sensed the nine-tailed demon emperor's gaze, Wu Dao's true body looked up and nodded with a smile at her. The nine-tailed demon emperor panicked as though her thoughts had been seen through. She averted her gaze and left the tent as though she was escaping. Wu Dao's true body did not think much of it. He nodded and smiled at the nine-tailed demon monarch to express his gratitude and goodwill. The little fox could barge into the nine-tailed demon emperor's tent casually without anyone stopping her or reporting. That alone was proof of how much the nine-tailed demon emperor doted on the little fox. The little fox must have never been mistreated in the nine-tailed demon emperor's place. Earlier on, Wu Dao's true body was thanking the nine-tailed demon emperor for taking care of him over the years. Furthermore, Wu Dao's true body realized that the little fox's cultivation was not weak either. She was already at the heavenly being stage of the true self realm. That cultivation speed was considered top-notch among his old friends in Tianhuang mainland in this lifetime. All right, Wu Dao's true body patted the back of the little fox gently. Get up. The little fox continued to bury her head in the embrace of Wu Dao's true body and refused to get up. She wrapped her arms around his waist and hugged him tightly, as though she was afraid that Wu Dao's true body would run away. Wu Dao's true body smiled. I'm going to stay in the vast wilderness for a long time and won't leave casually. When the little fox heard that, her arms relaxed. Thereafter, she transformed from her human form into her true form and burrowed into the embrace of Wu Dao's true body, just like how she did at the bottom of the Dragon Burial Valley. Most of her body was hidden in the chest of Wu Dao's true body, revealing only her furry head outside. She looked up at Wu Dao's true body and blinked her watery eyes. Wu Dao's true body did not say anything and allowed her to do as she pleased. It was only then that Tiger and the other two came over. Tiger teased, "Little fox, you're so biased. You didn't even greet us after not seeing us for a long time." The little fox harumphed as a greeting to Tiger. That's way too perfunctory. Tiger rolled his eyes. After ascending to the upper world, the five of them had to go through countless hardships to be able to reunite in the vast wilderness. It was truly difficult to describe. Even so, the whereabouts of 2 of the 7 of them were unknown. Now that the 5 of them were gathered, Monkey and Night Spirit were the only ones missing. As the 5 of them conversed, they would inevitably mention the 2 of them with worried expressions. Tiger, Qing, Golden Lion, and the little fox had remained in the vast wilderness ever since they ascended and had never left. They were unlike Wu Dao's true body, who had already traveled through many realms. They did not have any news about Monkey and Night Spirit. Wu Dao's true body said, "There are some clues about Night Spirit. He appeared in the fiend battlefield of the celestial tribute world before disappearing without a trace." Wu Dao's true body recounted some of the information he heard about Night Spirit in the celestial tribute world. Given Night Spirit's combat strength, he shouldn't be in any danger even if he roams the 3,000 realms. Wu Dao's true body said, "There are no clues about Monkey yet. However, I'm guessing that he should be in the Blood Ape world." Monkey belonged to the Blood Ape race. If he did not appear in the vast wilderness, The most likely possibility was that he had descended in the blood ape world. Although the blood ape world was not a super world, it had emperor lords as well. Monkey should not be in any danger in the blood ape world as well. However, no one knew how long it would take for the brothers to reunite. Wu Dao's true body chatted with Tiger and the other three in the tent for an entire day and night. The five of them had endless things to talk about after reuniting after a long time. They would not feel tired even if they chatted for a year. However, the crisis of the vast wilderness had yet to be resolved. Wu Dao's true body was concerned about Dai Yu and did not stay for long. The next day, Wu Dao's true body left Green Hill Mountain Range and entered seclusion. If he wanted to help Dai Yu and Eastern Wilderness tide through this crisis, he had to raise his cultivation realm. End of chapter. Chapter 2958. To Wu Dao's main body, Wu Dao's future was already clear. Everything returned to one, and all paths led to the same destination. After the martial domain realm was the Emperor realm. However, the Emperor realm was a major realm after all. Stepping into the Emperor realm was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. Wu Dao's main body had to first transform his Yuanwu Grotto Heaven and Wu Dao's Purgatory to produce a trace of world power. Only by becoming a quasi-emperor would he have the chance to truly step into the Emperor realm. Wu Dao's main body did not intend to refine the world fragment. Not only did the world fragment contain many profound Dao arts, but more importantly, it also contained Genesis Qi. To him, it was a waste to refine the world fragment now. As long as he refined the many Grotto Heavens collected from the two battles, the Yuanwu Grotto Heaven would have a chance to improve further. Wu Dao's Purgatory would also improve after refining the Dao and Dao arts in those Grotto Heavens. In fact, Su Zimo and Dai Yu had not seen each other for many years and wanted to spend more time together. Even if they did not speak, just quietly accompanying each other would be good. But now, Eastern Wilderness was still in danger and time was of the essence. If they could not survive this calamity, Su Zimo might even be buried with Dai Yu in the Great Wilderness, let alone spend the rest of their lives together. Time flew by. 800 years passed in the blink of an eye. For the cultivation world, 800 years passed by too quickly, like the passing of a white steed. For the vast majority of living beings, it was difficult to raise their cultivation level by a small realm in 800 years. Ever since the battle of the celestial tribute world, Sword World Su Zhu became famous and the reputation of Ninth Sword Peak also rose. There were many disciples in Ninth Sword Peak and it was extremely lively. It was naturally different from when Ninth Sword Peak was first built. On this day, guests from afar came to visit Sword World's Ninth Sword Peak. A sword cultivator had already gone to Ninth Sword Peak's eldest senior sister, Kitsune's cave abode to inform her. All the sword cultivators knew that the Ninth Sword Peak's peak master was cultivating in seclusion and would not come out unless something major happened. Most of the matters on the Ninth Sword Peak were handled by Kitsune. After 800 years of cultivation, Kitsune's cultivation had also improved. She had comprehended a supreme divine ability, and she had also cultivated to the Deshang stage of the true martial realm. This cultivation speed had already far surpassed that of cultivators of the same level. Although Yun Ting of the Extreme Sword Peak had also cultivated to the heavenly being stage of the true first realm, he was firmly suppressed by Kitsune in terms of battle strength. In Wu Dao, Kitsune's talent in swordsmanship was undoubtedly revealed. When Kitsune saw the two guests who came to visit, she pondered for a moment and decided to go to Su Zimo's cave residence to wake him up. These two were from the flower world. One of them was immortal King Yulan who had helped Su Zimo and the sword world in the celestial tribute world. The other was the disciple of immortal King Yulan, Mu Lian. In the evil demon battlefield, Mu Lian was also one of the few supreme true spirits who had helped Su Zimo. Most importantly, Mu Lian did not seem to be in a good condition. She was injured, looked dispirited, and had a weak aura. She was barely able to stand with the help of immortal King Yulan. Kitsune knew her master's temperament. If he knew that immortal King Yulan and Mu Lian had come to visit, he would definitely come out of seclusion. As expected, after Kitsune reported, Su Zimo immediately woke up and went out to welcome immortal King Yulan and Mu Lian into the cave residence. Immortal King Yulan said with a smile, "We haven't seen each other for 800 years. Congratulations, fellow Taoist. Su's cultivation has improved again." In 800 years, Su Zimo had already stepped into the void transformation stage of the true first realm. He had gained too much from the battle in the evil demon battlefield. Just the Tao fruits of the supreme true spirits alone were more than 20. Over the years he had only refined 3 out of the 20 Tao fruits. He could step into the void transformation stage so quickly because he had comprehended 2 more supreme divine abilities: Fleeting Youth and Space-Time Shackles. Fleeting Youth was originally a peerless divine ability. However, in the Emperor's tomb, he had obtained immortal Emperor Qinmu's legacy. Over the years, he had already perfectly fused Fleeting Youth and Morning Bell and Evening Drum, finally pushing Fleeting Youth to the height of a supreme divine ability. As for comprehending space-time shackles, it was also a matter of course. The Tao of time was contained within that fleeting moment of youth. As for the Tao of space, it was in the Linglong chess game that immortal King Linglong had imparted to him. In other words, the supreme divine abilities that Su Zimo had comprehended so far were 4 heads, 8 arms, 8 fangs divine power, immortal slaying sword, dragon and elephant Buddhas, 6 paths of reincarnation, fleeting youth, vermilion bird heavenly fire, limitless yin and yang, and space-time shackles. 9 supreme divine abilities, unprecedented and unparalleled. 9 supreme divine abilities baptized the body, bloodline, and essence spirit. Coupled with the foundation of the grade 12 creation Qinglian, Su Zimo's body and essence spirit had already reached the grotto heaven realm. In the face of immortal King Yulan's greetings, Su Zimo smiled. He could see that there was a trace of worry between immortal King Yulan's brows. His gaze fell on Mu Lian, who was beside immortal King Yulan. Su Zimo frowned. A faint smell of blood came from Mu Lian's body. She was in a very bad state and had suffered serious injuries. Although Mu Lian was wearing a bamboo hat and a black veil, Su Zimo could still detect that Mu Lian's originally fair face was covered with scarlet blood vessels. It was extremely terrifying. What's going on? Su Zimo did not exchange pleasantries with immortal King Yulan and asked directly while pointing at Mu Lian. At the mention of this matter, immortal King Yulan sighed and said, "Mu Lian was severely injured by someone from the blood world and her essence spirit and bloodline were tainted with the poison of the filthy blood. If we make a move, we can save Mu Lian's life. However, her essence spirit will inevitably be injured and her cultivation will be crippled." At this point, immortal King Yulan paused for a moment, as though she had thought of something and hesitated. "Fellow Taoist Su." Immortal King Yulan suddenly sent a voice transmission with her spirit consciousness. "I'm guessing that you might possess the creation Qinglian bloodline and might have a way to save Mu Lian. I know that this request is a little abrupt, but don't worry, fellow Taoist Su. I won't reveal the secret of your creation Qinglian bloodline." In fact, immortal King Yulan had already noticed Su Zimo's uniqueness when she first met Su Zimo, which was why she took the initiative to befriend him. After all, she belonged to the plant race and her perception of the creation Qinglian bloodline was different from other races. Later on, when she saw Su Zimo's methods in the fiend battlefield, she deduced that Su Zimo most likely possessed the creation Qinglian bloodline. "Let me take a look." Su Zimo did not hesitate and asked immortal King Yulan to place Mu Lian on a bed not far away. He lifted the veil of his bamboo hat and used his spirit consciousness to check the situation in Mu Lian's body. When he and the Sword Realm were besieged by many realms in the celestial tribute world, immortal King Yulan and Mu Lian were one of the few people who helped the Sword Realm and him. Moreover, Mu Lian was from the Qinglian bloodline. No matter what the reason was, Su Zimo would not stand by and do nothing. Su Zimo carefully checked Mu Lian's body. The injuries on Mu Lian's body were not serious. The main thing was that her bloodline and essence spirit were tainted with a kind of filthy bloodline. As long as it was removed, Mu Lian would be able to recover. "Who in the blood realm can hurt her?" Su Zimo asked. After all, Mu Lian was a supreme true spirit. Even if she was not a match, it would be difficult for cultivators of the same level to injure her to this extent. Chapter 2959. Immortal King Yulan sighed softly. Fellow Taoist Su, you recognize that person as well. He's the supreme true spirit that escaped from your hands, blood pattern of the blood world. It's him? Su Zimo raised his brow slightly. He had some impression of blood pattern. Back in Heaven Tribute Square, blood pattern had a dispute with Mulyan and Longli. In the evil demon battlefield, blood pattern was one of those who surrounded him. However, that person was the most decisive in escaping. When he saw that the situation was bad, he summoned his Heaven Tribute token right away and escaped the battlefield, saving his life. After checking, Su Zimo was relieved. This injury isn't difficult to treat. Upon hearing that, Immortal King Yulan heaved a sigh of relief. If it was anyone else, Mulyan's injuries would indeed be troublesome. After all, the tainted blood had already tainted her essence, spirit, and bloodline. If she wanted to treat it, it would definitely hurt Mulyan's foundation and cultivation. However, it was extremely easy for Su Zimo. No matter how strong the bloodline of the Bloodvine race was, it could not taint the bloodline of the grade 12 creation Qinglian. At the end of the day, the Bloodvine race belonged to the category of plant life forms. In terms of bloodline, the creation Qinglian had an absolute suppression effect against them. With the help of the grade 12 creation Qinglian bloodline, Su Zimo could remove the tainted blood in Mulyan's body with his lotus birth finger. Because Mulyan was also a member of the Qinglian race, not only would her cultivation not be damaged after receiving the nourishment of the grade 12 creation Qinglian bloodline, her body, bloodline, and essence spirit would also be nourished. In the cave abode, Su Zimo had no intention of hiding. Right in front of Immortal King Yulan and the others, he executed Lotus Birth Finger on Mulyan's body. It was a Dao technique that was powered by the creation Qinglian bloodline. Even if Immortal King Yulan learned it, it would be useless. In less than 5 minutes, the blood vessels on Mulyan's face gradually faded. 2 hours later, Mulyan's complexion returned to normal. Her face was rosy and her breathing was stable as she fell into a deep sleep. After the tainted blood was removed from her body, Mulyan could use her own bloodline to quickly recover her vitality. What happened? Seeing that Mulyan was out of danger and had yet to wake up, Su Zimo turned to look at Immortal King Yulan and asked, "How did Mulyan get into a fight with Xuewen and get injured to this extent?" Su Zimo had fought with Xuewen before. Even if Xuewen's battle power was higher than Mulyan's, it was not much higher. Even if Mulyan couldn't win, she could at least retreat unscathed. She wouldn't be injured like this. Immortal King Yulan said with a complicated expression, "The Qinglian clan and the Blood Realm have a deep grudge to begin with. Originally, there was a Qinglian realm in the 3,000 realms, but it was later devoured by the Blood Realm, and countless Qinglian died in the Blood Sea. After that, the remaining members of the Qinglian realm fled to the Flower Realm and were taken in by the Flower Realm. Gradually, they found a place to live in the Flower Realm. However, the number of members of the Qinglian realm is very low. They are no longer the same as before." "There's actually such a thing," Su Zimo murmured softly. To Mulyan, this was the blood feud of having her clan exterminated. It was no wonder that Mulyan opposed Xuewen in the celestial tribute world. Immortal King Yulan continued, "In recent years, a large area of the Flower Realm's water source has been polluted. It contains an ancient poison, the Nether Calamity Poison. Many members of the Flower Realm failed to detect it and died after absorbing that water source." Su Zimo frowned and asked, "Was it done by the Blood Realm?" Immortal King Yulan shook her head slightly and said, "This poison is very old. It should be from the Poison Realm. The Nether Calamity Poison is extremely powerful and can ignore one's cultivation realm. Even if kings and imperial lords don't detect it, they will be infected by this poison and their lives will be in danger. It said that in the previous epoch, the Poison Realm relied on this poison to become one of the super great realms. Other realms were not willing to provoke it. Many experts in the Flower Realm were infected by this poison. At the mention of this, Immortal King Yulan's eyes revealed a hint of worry again. Su Zimo was a little puzzled and asked, how could such a poison be spread over such a large area in the flower realm without anyone noticing? Immortal King Yulan pursed her lips and shook her head. She also had the same doubts. Perhaps there was a possibility. It was this poison that was spread by the people of the flower realm. Not to mention that the flower realm did not have any evidence. Even if it was confirmed that it was done by the people of the poison realm, it was not suitable for the flower realm to launch an inter-realm war against the poison realm with the current situation. Otherwise, they would be in danger of being exterminated. Since this poison is from the poison realm, why would Mu Lian have a conflict with the blood realm? Su Zimo asked again. Immortal King Yulan said, there are only two ways to resolve this crisis. The first is to give up the flower realm's current position and lead the remaining members to leave and open another realm. Su Zimo shook his head. This method was not realistic. After all, the flower realm was a higher realm with countless members rooted in its current position. How could it be so easy to move away? Furthermore, even if they left, the crisis would not be truly resolved. Even if they opened a new realm, could they guarantee that the nether calamity poison would not follow them? What's the second method? Su Zimo asked. Immortal King Yulan said, the second method is to find an ancient spring water. It said that this spring water can wash away all poisons in the world and restrain all poisons. If we can obtain this spring water, we can completely resolve the crisis of the flower realm. Hearing this, Su Zimo's heart skipped a beat and he asked, what's the name of this spring water? What's its origin? I'm not sure. Immortal King Yulan said, I only know that this spring water is extremely ancient and is suffused with a dark light. It can only be found in the most ancient battlefield ruins. Su Zimo was deep in thought. When Wu Dao's main body was traveling in hell, he had read about the 9 springs of hell. The 9 springs of hell originated from the Nether River. Each spring water contained different powers and had various strange effects. For example, Acheron of hell could wash away memories. The bitter spring of hell could severely injure the ghost race. And in the 9 springs, there was a spring water that could wash away all poisons and restrain all poisons. If he guessed correctly, the ancient spring water that Immortal King Yulan was talking about should be the hell spring water. He knew where the hell spring water was, but Wu Dao's main body was in seclusion. Besides, the eastern wilderness was facing a crisis. Song could come back at any time, and Wu Dao's main body couldn't leave. If he wanted to enter hell, he had to enter the Avicii hell and jump into that dry well. He didn't know what would happen and when he could return. Wu Dao's main body couldn't enter hell again and abandon the eastern wilderness and die you for the hell spring water. Moreover, judging from Immortal King Yulan's words, she seemed to know where the hell spring water was. Have you heard of the land of day and night? Immortal King Yulan asked. Su Zimo shook his head. Immortal King Yulan said, it's a ruin formed by an ancient battlefield. Legend has it that a great battle broke out there during the calamity of heaven and earth. Countless people of the dark world and light world died there, gradually forming such a strange place. There's no pattern to the alternation of day and night. It might be daytime one moment and darkness the next. I heard that there's that ancient spring water in the land of day and night. Chapter 2960. In that case, the flower realm could only go to the day-night land if they wanted to resolve the crisis. Immortal King Yulan said, in the land of day and night, the two extreme powers of light and darkness coexist. After experiencing the vicissitudes of several epochs, it gradually formed a special kind of domain. The worlds and grotto heavens cultivated by kings and emperors are incompatible with that domain. Su Zimo nodded. This phenomenon was not surprising. The existence of the day-night land was a bit similar to Wu Dao's domain. Naturally, it would clash with the grotto heavens and worlds. Immortal King Yulan said, the remaining power of the day-night land is too terrifying. Even emperors will suffer a backlash if they try to force their way in. Only cultivators below the king realm will not be affected too much. Hearing this, Su Zimo gradually understood. True spirits did not form grotto heavens. Because of the uniqueness of the day-night land, the Flower Realm could only send true Spirit Realm experts to search for the Hell Spring. Mulyan was one of them. Immortal King Yulan continued, "So, we sent 10 teams, each consisting of 10 half-step kings. The rest were true Spirit Realm experts. Mulyan was one of them." "Half-step kings are not affected?" Su Zimo asked. Immortal King Yulan said, "Half-step kings are cultivators who failed to break through to the Grotto Heaven realm. They can only form in illusory Grotto Heaven. The power of the Grotto Heaven is relatively weak, so it won't cause too much of a reaction from the day-night land." "And then?" Su Zimo asked. Immortal King Yulan sighed with a sorrowful expression. She shook her head and said, "Apart from Mulyan, none of the others survived. They all died in the day-night land." "Was it done by the Blood Realm?" Kitsune asked. Immortal King Yulan shook her head slightly and said, "Mulyan's team did run into people from the Blood Realm. As for the other 9 teams, no one knows what happened. They couldn't find that ancient spring and suffered heavy losses. The Flower Realm didn't dare to send cultivators into the day-night land." Immortal King Yulan frowned as she thought of the Flower Realm's crisis. Kitsune turned to look at Su Zimo. She was obviously tempted. She had already mastered Wu Dao and could easily suppress a genuine immortal at the Kongming stage. She could even fight a genuine immortal at the Dongshu stage. However, she spent most of her time in the sword world. When she sparred with her fellow disciples, her hands and feet were tied. She was unable to unleash the full power of Wu Dao and his sword Dao. She also wanted to find an opportunity to find a suitable opponent so that she could fight without holding back. A life and death battle could also give her a new understanding of Wu Dao and the way of the sword. Previously in the celestial tribute world, Kitsune's cultivation was too low, so she didn't have the chance to fight with the supreme true spirit inside. Later on, great changes happened to the celestial tribute realm. After it was sealed, 800 years passed, and it still didn't reopen. For Bai Mingshui, this place of day and night was indeed a good opportunity for her to train. Of course, Su Zimo also planned to go to the land of day and night to take a look. After all, Immortal King Yulan and Mulyan had helped him before, so he should help them. Moreover, if he could help the flower world survive this calamity, it could be considered a good deed. In the future, if he or the sword world encountered any difficulties, he believed that the flower world would not sit idly by. Su Zimo pondered for a while and said, "Where is the land of day and night? Baiming and I will go and take a look." "Don't go." Mulyan had just woken up. When she heard these words, she quickly sat up and tried to stop him. Immortal King Yulan's expression changed slightly when she heard this. She shook her head and said, "Fellow Taoist Su, you have just saved Mulyan. You have already done your best. You can't risk your life for us. I came here this time to ask fellow Taoist Su to try to save Mulyan. I have no other intentions. It's not that I want to risk my life." Su Zimo waved his hand and said casually, "It's just a small matter. The main thing is to give Baiming a chance to gain experience." When he was at the Kongming stage, he had killed more than 20 supreme true spirits in the evil demon battlefield and suppressed all the powerful enemies of the same level. Now that he was at the Paradise Void realm, who below the Grotto Heaven realm could stop him? Right now, it was not an exaggeration to say that Su Zimo was the #1 below the Grotto Heaven realm. Due to the special restrictions of the land of day and night where kings and eternal lords could not enter, he could almost do whatever he wanted inside. "Fellow Taoist Su, please be careful." Immortal King Yulan said in a deep voice, "Your combat strength can be said to be invincible at the true self realm. However, there are half-step Grotto Heaven experts in the land of day and night after all. It's still a little troublesome to deal with them." Mulyan added, "Peak Master Su, you haven't been to the land of day and night before, so you don't know how complicated and dangerous it is. In the land of day and night, you don't just have to face experts from other realms. Because it's the ruins of a battlefield, it's filled with killing intent and treacherous at every step. The powers of light and darkness have fused with the killing intent and resentment in the battlefield, forming a special living being that wanders around and attacks any foreign living beings they see. This kind of living being was essentially an otherworldly soldier. However, by fusing the powers of light and darkness, it formed a special life form. For example, in the Shura battlefield that Su Zimo had once been to in the divine firmament immortal realm, there was a kind of blood fiend that could control the Yakshas that had fallen many years ago. This kind of otherworldly soldier is extremely powerful. Each one of them is no weaker than a peak true immortal. In addition, they come in an endless stream and can't be killed. Once you encounter them, you can only escape far away. Mulian continued, moreover, the environment of the land of day and night is extremely harsh. It's possible to encounter a natural disaster, the day and night storm. When the powers of light and darkness interweave together, the storm formed is enough to destroy and strangle all life. Even the bodies of kings can't withstand it. Immortal King Yulan and Mulian did not want Su Zimo to help them just because the flower realm was in danger. Instead, they were worried about Su Zimo's safety and tried their best to stop him. Su Zimo smiled and said, "The two of you don't have to worry. As long as you're careful, it should be fine." Even if they really encountered any danger that Su Zimo could not deal with his means, he could escape unscathed. Seeing that Su Zimo had made up his mind, Immortal King Yulan and Mulian stopped persuading him. Mulian took a deep breath, clenched her fist slightly and said, "Peak Master Su, I'll go with you." She had just suffered heavy injuries in the land of day and night and almost lost her life. Now that she said that she would return to the land of day and night, who knew how much courage she had to muster? Su Zimo was about to speak when Mulian said, "Peak Master Su, you don't have to persuade me. After all, you're risking your life for the Flower Realm. As a member of the Flower Realm, I won't stay out of it. Moreover, I know the approximate location of the spring. With me leading the way, we can avoid some dangers." Su Zimo hesitated for a moment, but still nodded. It was just taking care of one more person and being a little distracted. For him, it was not a big problem. Immortal King Yulan was silent for a while, then cupped her hands and said, "Fellow Taoist Su, I'll return to the Flower Realm now and gather some peak true spirits and half-step kings to accompany you to the land of day and night." Don't. Hearing this, Su Zimo hurriedly refused. With his ability, he could easily take care of Baiming Shui and Mulian. But if he had to protect a large group of people, he would not be able to do anything at all. End of chapter. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.